I saw your. Go ahead.
No, you can carry on what you're talking about. We'll bring it behind the scenes to the forefront.
I'm good.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Players' Choice, everybody. Shout out, y'all, man. It's my people, man. Shout out Mars. Shout out Chill. Shout out Penn. Shout out the Lakers fan down there, aka Chicago fan, man. Shout out my people, man. What's going on, man?
So happy. You seem quite happy.
See, I knew you were gonna be.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. It's Thanksgiving. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, obviously, because indigenous people, whatever. But I'm celebrating family time, 1,000%. I'm very excited to see my people this week. It's gonna be great.
Speaking of family, I want to shout out my brother Ron. Hang in there, brother. We with you. We ain't going nowhere. We got your back, my man. Don't you worry about it. We right here. We ain't going nowhere. We'll keep the ship rolling till you get back. We got your back, my man. Yes, whatever you need, we here.
Yeah, y'all spam W host in the chat for Ron.
We like Franz Wagner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if anyone hasn't heard, Players' Choice put out a community note. Ron is not going to be here this week or till further notice. He's dealing with a passing in his family. Obviously, all death is tragic. We hope Ron and his family can get through what they're going through. We know we make our jokes about L host this, L host that, but obviously family always comes first. We understand that. So prayers for Ron, prayers for his family. Hopefully that they can get through what they're going through. You don't want anyone to go through that. But we are here to try and brighten up people's days. We are here to try and provide good content, good talk for you guys. So we are here for Ron, but let's try to put on a good show for Ron and anyone else who may be watching who have gone through losses or anything in their life. So we are here to talk about basketball at the end of the day. I think there has been some big news in the basketball world. The title was one made by me. But I think a lot of people are probably on the same page of where I'm at right now, which is Nikola Jokic is probably a step above the rest of the NBA right now. And I want to talk about the Denver Nuggets and Los Angeles Lakers game that just happened on, was it Saturday night?
Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Lakers got handled by the Nuggets. I want to start by talking to the Nuggets fan who won that game. What was your takeaways from that game?
What else is new? What else is new?
Go ahead, Chill. You actually opened this up. Go ahead, Chill.
Well, what I'm asking is, I'm asking what else is new when we talk about the Lakers in Denver. Whenever we talk about this matchup, I mean, what else is new? This is a situation where this is a team that's just better, and a lot of times we get wrapped up, and this boils my blood, Mars. A lot of times we get wrapped up in a guy who gets outplayed by a guy, and he's just not good, and we can't just accept the fact that the other guy is just better. And Joker is just better than Anthony Davis, and I don't understand why that's a big deal. It's not that Anthony Davis is whack, because Anthony Davis is one of the best bigs in the game. Him and James on Saturday night, they had a great two-man going. Him and Austin Reeves had a great two-man going. They got this particular action that I really like, that I didn't see this last year with them, where James has the ball at the top of the key. Anthony Davis is on the right elbow, and Cam Reddish is on the left block. Let's see. Austin Reeves is in the left corner. In the left corner. So Anthony Davis comes and sets this screen. When Anthony Davis comes and sets this screen, I'm about to call him Cam Thomas. I apologize. Cam Reddish pops to the top of the key to create a diversion. When he does that, James is going off the screen, where now Christian Brown is on the weak side because he's the furthest away from the ball. He's helping. James recognizes that, fires the ball to Austin Reeves, who was wide open for a three. That's by design. That's good action. That is really good action. But the difference is the Lakers Denver counters that action. Denver counters that action with staying home. Okay, now I don't help on James, and I'll give up James and Anthony Davis in the two-man game as opposed to giving up a three. And then when they go away from that, that's what kind of gets them in a lot of trouble. It got them in a lot of trouble when they played them Saturday night. I mean, I don't. There's a lot that I could say about this, but ultimately, the Denver Nuggets are better. And if the Lakers are going to have an opportunity to win the NBA championship, they got to avoid Denver. They do.
No, they don't.
They're not a championship contender. I think
let me just get, because yesterday me and Mars had a very long segment talking about Nikola Jokic. So
where
on
our show.
Mars Talk Sports, the Hoop Talk podcast. Me and John
thank you,
D,
promo,
we-
W promo.
Yeah,
W promo.
we do an excellent job talking
Just
about basketball.
Damn, I knew
But
I was
yeah,
getting something.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't like Jokic, you probably don't want to watch the last half an hour because it got
The
quite
last
bad.
half
in
hour
terms-
was
there's a lot of Jokic stuff. But
Yeah,
also,
I
before
still
you go,
prefer it.
John, I think the action that Chill's talking about is Spain or stack pick and roll. That when you have the camera dish like a back screen, it will pop out, and then he sets the back pick on AD, who's already set the screen. It goes by the term of Spain or stack pick and roll.
Well, they started doing that last year, by the way.
But
Yeah, they
for anyone
started
who
that late
just wanted to like have a terminology for that action. But John, you were saying?
I don't go into these games like as hopeful as I used to, because even as a fan of the team, when you're watching your team play, it's always like when you can feel that they're about to lose, you can feel it early. So it's like, even if we're up 20, 30, 40, I still have this thought in the back of my head. This like their effort is the lack of effort is going to show. And in the second half, the effort was awful. You know, there's plays where people aren't getting back in transition. We're not fighting for defensive rebounds. We're not getting through screens. And it's just hard to watch. It's hard to root for this team if they're going to go on a whole third quarter run where they're not showing effort. They did the same thing against Orlando. We're missing free throws. We're not getting back. We're lazy on our screens. We're lazy getting through screens. It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch. And I knew this Denver Nuggets team is better than us, but it's just they beat us so much. I walk into the game like, maybe we can just get 1, 2. It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch.
It's like the Pistons and the Bulls in the late 80s, early 90s.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
We can beat them whenever we want.
No, it's
yes,
not.
we can.
We're giving the Lakers and I, because first off, Jason Tim Hoops Tonight is like a legitimate friend of mine. Like, we are friends and we do content together. We are, we talk a lot. Jason does incredible work. I'm sure y'all are very familiar with Jason Tim.
I am.
Mm-hmm.
He is the most biased LeBron and Lakers fan among the media members that I love, like genuinely respect. Like, think his content is tier 1, better than mine. Like, I think it's that good. Like, I think it's
more than you with Denver.
Yeah, well, I think here's the thing. I can genuinely tell you that Denver is probably more in line right now, a top 6 to 7 team, based on how their performance has been, then they would be closer to a top 3. I think that's like been where their bench is. Their starters are top of the league, but
they're great.
The non-Jokic minutes are, as everybody saw, like Sarius goes in the game, it's like -12 in 3.5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, it's over. But the Lakers, remember we had this conversation on Friday, y'all. They are a mid-tier, mediocre performing team that was overperforming their win-loss projection because of their record. They were 10-5. They were cooking, and everybody was like, "Oh, this Lakers team whoop-de-whoop." And I'm saying, well, no. If you look at the numbers, they're literally a mid team, like to the exact casuals up here. And he was arguing with me and Mars about like, "Oh, they're this and that in the schedule." No, they're just a mid team. They're not a good team. They're not physical. They don't do anything at an elite level. They score the ball at an elite level. But again, even if you watch the games in which they played very well, they play versus teams that are very flawed and or hurt or have soft interior cushions where Anthony Davis and LeBron can feast. But as soon as they play versus a team that's physical, chill, that has size, has athleticism, has skill, has shooting, they wet the bed every single time. But it's not because AD and LeBron are like top 10 players. And honestly, I think the thing that gets the Lakers in trouble, I feel like Lakers fans will be able to sleep better if the way that people talk about the Lakers wasn't, well, they have LeBron and AD. Well, that doesn't mean anything in 2024. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, if you don't have a set 1 through 9, like Chill loves the Celtics, Chill, like you have reasons why you love that team, why you think they're an elite team. The Cleveland Cavaliers, Jonty, this year they got a 1 through 10, and all of a sudden, Ty Jerome looks like he's gonna be an all-star one day, like out of nowhere. So
Warriors,
they have 1 to
11-9.
10 players that you can put on the court and that are just absolutely gonna buy into a culture and a system. The Lakers don't have any of that. Austin Reeves is a good player. I think AD, I think LeBron. But outside of that, there's nobody on the roster that you guarantee saying getting real playing time. And I don't know about how Ox feels, but I mean, I got plenty of players in Sacramento. I'll play over Rui and the rest of them. But then on top of that, they're not physical. And if you're going to play versus a team that can get inside at will, that can create contact at the rim, and that can shoot the ball, and they can switch, and they're able to just put heavy pressure on you in transition, they fold every time. So I really just truly think that people, if the Lakers were closer to what their approximate record is, meaning they're right now they're 17th in net rating, I believe, for dunks and threes. That's where they belong. They're not a good team. But I'm over here arguing with Jason after the game, like, yo, like, you know, why are you so high on them? He has them 7 in the league, and they cannot execute basic half-court executions when they face any adversity whatsoever. And chill, their defense is horrible. And by the way, I need to apologize.
Swipe it. Why can they not?
Because they I think for them, bro, like their thing is confidence. And as soon as they lose confidence, they lose organization. And I don't know if you understand what that means too. Could football, you know that for football, you know that for basketball. If you lose confidence in your structure and in your process, and everything falls apart. And I think especially in the Denver matchups, there's already such a talent disparity that once they lose confidence in like they're going to continue to just operate at maximum level offensively, they shatter. It also 50 to 17 run in the second
50
half.
to 17, 100%, 50 to 17. They also have a situation, and they also have a situation where they got a couple of guys, and this is a recipe for disaster. They got a couple of guys, like, for example, D'Angelo Russell, guys who do one thing, and if they're not doing that one thing, they're pretty useless. And they got a bunch of guys, they got a few guys that are like that. Whereas Denver, and I'm not even talking about Denver. I'll stick with the Lakers. The Lakers are one of the best teams that get into the free throw line. They are one of the best teams at drawing fouls. So they are elite in that aspect. The problem is consistently executing offense when they go up against the better teams in the league. That's what they have not produced. And they struggle against teams that have proficient big guys. They struggle against those guys.
Cavs game.
And on top of that, on the wing, the wings, and I think it's almost time. No, it's not almost time. It's time for me to get off the Cam Reddish train. Like Cam Reddish is going to turn into one of these defenders that Mars. They don't create any havoc on the wing defensively. None. Zero.
None.
You ain't gonna get mad at Cam Reddish. They go Dalton Connect and Austin Reeves.
That's why he was. That's
like,
why he was there.
Rui.
That's why they brought. That's why they brought Cam Reddish there. Cam Reddish was supposed to be one of those guys who was going to create havoc on the wing. They don't create any havoc on the wing defensively, none whatsoever. They don't create turnovers. They don't have any disruption. I think that I was banking on the fact that I was banking on the fact that you got James. I was banking on the fact that you got Anthony Davis. I was loving the connection between both Anthony Davis and Austin Reeves. I loved what they were doing, and I'm figuring because you got these guys. And you got an elite big who can defend and be more versatile, that can make you guys viable. But no, it's not.
But guys, like I'm just hearing a lot of what the Lakers don't do, how bad the Lakers are, lack of confidence, they can't execute, all of this. But is it because
Denver,
they miss,
particularly?
is it? Well, yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. Can we real quick, John D, can we get back to where we were because of we were just talking about how good the Lakers were 2 weeks ago, and just because they missed some free throws against Orlando and Franz hits a big shot, and then they lose to the Nuggets, who they always lose to. Now we're just turning our whole back on the Lakers, which I'm fine with. You know, I'm okay with that. But is that the proper thing to do?
No, I don't think that's
are they just terrible now?
Well, me and Swiper were making the case they were mids while they were on a 6-game win streak. So
they were
on a 6-game win streak. They hadn't lost to Orlando yet, and they obviously haven't played the Denver game. Me and Swiper were making the case that they aren't that good. So I think we've been pretty consistent on this is a very flawed team. I think offensively, I think you guys are being a bit too harsh on them. I think offensively, I don't think their problems are offensively. I think all of their problems are defensively. Yeah. Every single one of their problems. And
they one of the best long ball shooting teams.
Including Anthony Davis, by the way.
Yes,
seriously.
Anthony Davis to me is the best defender in the sport because of everything he provides for me in a playoff setting and the utility he provides. I think he is the most valuable defender you can have in that setting. In the regular season, he has not been the best defender in the sport, especially the last 2 seasons, this season and last season. He hasn't been. But I've been willing to say I still think he's the best defender, and I think in the playoffs he shows it. This season, he hasn't played like an all-defensive level player. He's been questionable. The transition defense is egregious. That's been a problem with the Lakers for a while. Anthony Davis is a huge part of that. Getting beat up and down the floor routinely, not just by Jokic, but just routinely. The consistent effort is questionable. And then you got this switching scheme that they're trying to implement. And it's like that takes away from Anthony Davis' best skill set. His motor's also not as high as it should be. So, like, the personnel is bad. Anthony Davis isn't Anthony Davising on defense. LeBron is having, in my opinion, one of his worst defensive seasons of his career. Understandable. The guy's 50. Like, you put all of that together, and then you've got a backcourt of Austin Reeves and D'Lo, or Austin Reeves and Dalton Connect, or then you bring Rui back into the lineup. Like, they have legitimately, in my opinion, two guys who aren't detrimental on defense. And one of them is Anthony Davis, and the other one is Cam Reddish. Everyone else, I think, has just been bad. And Anthony Davis hasn't even been great. And if you're not getting a great Anthony Davis, and then you have bad everything else, that's a bad recipe, in my opinion. And that's why I think they're a mid-team. I think they're 26th in defense, I believe. 26th.
Yeah, they're 20. Well, dunks and threes are, they're 26 right now in defensive rating.
And transition defense is even worse. Transition
they're
defense,
second-
they're by
they're the
far the
second worst,
worst
I
in the
believe.
league. No, I
Yeah.
think they just New Orleans were worse than them, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And now
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that, and now I think after this Denver game, they're the worst in the
Mhm.
league. Like that, you can't win that way. You can't win. You can't be that bad defensively and then be a good team, in my opinion. Like unless you're like putting up.
That's
some
not your opinion,
historic
Mars. That's a
teams.
fact. That's
Yeah,
not
but
your opinion,
people
Mars. That's
gonna get
fact.
mad at me and be like, "Oh, LeBron and AD,"
No.
but like, it's a bad recipe. It's a bad
How
recipe.
do they turn their defense around?
They need
can't.
trades.
Communication.
They have to make trades. They have to make trades. The personnel.
Vandal, where's Vandal? When did he come back?
Wait a minute.
I wish I knew.
Because let's be clear about this. Just 2 years ago, when they were in the Western Conference Championship, getting to that point, they had D'Angelo Russell, they had Austin Reeves, they had Anthony Davis, they had Rui, they had Vando. Right?
LeBron
They
was
had
37
these
years old, by the way, at this point.
2 years
Anthony
younger.
Davis was 29.
2 years younger, and he's still in his prime. That's not my
What
point.
year are we
What my-
talking about? What year are we
This
talking
was
about?
just
23
This-
playoffs.
this
Okay,
was-
the conference
this
finals.
was-
Yeah, the conference
Yes,
finals.
sir. This was just 2 years ago. I think one of their major problems, I don't think it's personnel on defense more than I think it's communication. I'm watching them yesterday, and I'm watching guys, for example, MPJ, they got this action on the wing with MPJ and Joker, where MPJ gets the ball to Joker. I'm sorry, he has the ball, and he's playing two-man with Joker. Anthony Davis and Rui are not communicating. MPJ goes off the screen. Both Anthony Davis and Rui both go to Rui, leaving Joker wide open at the long ball line. That has nothing to do with personnel.
Well,
That's
it has everything.
communication.
It has everything to do
That's
with it because
communication.
Rui
No,
is
it
not a
doesn't.
screen. Let me tell you why. Rui is not a screen navigator. So therefore, any screen that he gets caught up on, because of how big he is, he dies on or he trails by a significant amount. And Porter,
That doesn't make
Swipe,
any
but
sense.
come
because
on,
we-
bro.
no, that's what it is.
Swipe
No, I'm
good
telling
at
you,
that.
he's
No.
never been good at it. So again,
But
from Washington,
that's also why the Lakers switch. So it's a
Right.
miscommunication on the switch, but Rui is a bad defender.
but they
Like,
also switch everything. Anthony Davis will forfeit the switch every possession, chill, because that's what they're taught to do. But also,
if they switch everything, then Rui's lack of screen navigation has nothing to do with this. Right?
It's
He's
a
not
lot.
because
even-
there was a DHO.
That play that Chill's alluding to is a communication thing.
yes,
But the issue is they have to switch because of the personnel. So
Yes.
it goes hand in hand. Rui is
but
a
even
bad
off ball,
defender,
but even
the
off
lack of
ball,
communication makes it worse.
Rui
Well,
is not good at coming around that screen off ball either. Like MPJ has repeatedly for the last 2 years been burning him or Reeves or any of them because
Sure.
they just cannot get around that down
That-
screen.
That's like people say, oh, the Nuggets, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., all these guys play a lot better when it's against the Lakers. It's just our off-ball defense is awful. So even when we have to worry about Nikola Jokic being down there with his back to the basket, we have guys like Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, and Roy Hachimura who can't navigate these screens or can't play solid off-ball defense to where these guys are getting routine open shots every single time. So it's like now we have to worry about Jokic, and now Michael Porter Jr. is getting open off every action because our off-ball defense is awful. We can look at so many things defensively and see why this team is just not as good as a lot of people were saying. And we were talking about Ox, you said after the Nuggets game and after the Magic game, why is everybody turning their back on the Lakers? I could understand if these weren't losses, like if these were like weird losses, like something we didn't do well or something we do well, we did not do well in these games. The things that we saw in these two losses were concerns coming into the season. Our defense was a concern. Our transition defense was a concern. Our effort was a concern throughout regular season games. So
And to your point, Ox, when you say why is everybody turning their back? When you have a nemesis, that nemesis shines a light on everything that you do wrong. So the stuff that Mars and Swiper were talking about, it just got compounded watching them against the Nuggets. Like, wait a minute, man. I'm so wrapped up in James. I'm wrapped up in Anthony Davis. I'm wrapped up in this rookie Dalton Connect. They got a lot of flaws on defense. and to Swiper's point, talking about Rui not being able to get around screens. Even if there is a point when you do have to get around screens, you should not be this bad. Mars, you try to sell me consistently that if a guy isn't good, he's just not good at it. A lot of times we're getting around screens because there aren't many guys in the NBA that screen that are really good screeners. There aren't many. A lot of these guys are slip screeners. A lot of these guys are dive screeners. So a lot of these are ghost screens. So it's not like these screens that we're seeing. These screens are just bam, guys getting hit regularly. A lot of these guys can get around these screens. The point that I'm making with this is a lot of this stuff is effort with Rui. A lot of it is. And if you add in the effort and you put in that communication aspect, I think this team can get better. I do.
Okay, chill.
What is in the West?
Hold on, swipe. I got to stop everything right now. Sure. I must stop everything right now. And I need to point. I need to bring something to attention. I know we talked about it last week. We showed last week. We talked about it this week. This weekend with Chill. If you've missed this, I got to open your eyes to it. If you missed it, here we go. We are dropping something this Black Friday. I hope you're ready.
So let me argue with both of them. Go ahead and do a what? So even though, listen. So even though last year in the fourth quarter, am I arguing two people or one person? I'm trying to figure out how to work it.
That was choice. Stay right here.
Hold on, real quick.
Stay right here. I saw Shaq in the fourth quarter against the defensive player of the year, Dikembe Mutombo, dominate him throughout that series.
How old was Dikembe Mutombo? What was Kobe when he turned one?
He was a high school player who we didn't know
When they went to the finals and won, what was Kobe? Was he an all-NBA level player?
When they went to, he was an all-NBA level player. Yes, he was. And so was Jamal Murray.
No, he wasn't.
Hold on.
So LeBron says year 3 he's an all-NBA, right? And in year 22 he's all-NBA.
And that doesn't mean that
he's technology.
That doesn't mean that he's still playing.
Why didn't Kareem do that? Why didn't Kareem do that?
No league has ever owned a team, and they were the owner of the team.
Why were they in that position in the first place?
The reason why they were in that
David
position.
Stern's administration.
The reason why they were in that position.
But Adam Silver would never do anything like that.
He absolutely would.
Never. LeBron James makes an appearance and you're irrelevant. What does that mean?
What do you mean?
What does that mean? Irrelevant. All of a sudden, I step on the court, you're irrelevant again.
And why is that?
Because I'm better than you.
That's not you wasn't better than me throughout the season.
Wow, the parlay is coming to you guys on Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. That is Black Friday. We got these two gentlemen here, Swiper, Chill, and y'all got anything?
This ain't Swiper and Chill.
What is this, Swiper? Go ahead. You trying to give us a little preview right now?
No, ain't no preview. This is Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya. This is what this is. This is exactly what this is. They got an aging Oscar in the prime Mayweather. Look, man, you know what I mean? I'll let him go.
So
let him rap for 12 rounds. You know, keep going. Yeah, you know.
It's not a Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson situation.
I mean, because I never stand with that they do to colonizers Puerto Rico. But in terms of the outlook, you know, Penn, could be, you know.
I gotta say, y'all, that I'm excited for this. I know everybody else is. I know all of us that were there when we were on set, seeing the production value. Shout out to everybody that took part in making this happen. I can't wait to see the finished product. That was an amazing day on set. Shout out to you two fellas. Y'all, do either of y'all got anything to say about what to expect on Friday? Chill.
I expect to see something. Just relive something epic. It was dope. It was dope to get it on with Swiper, no doubt about it. It was dope to get in the ring, man. I had a really good time with that. That was awesome. And how featured it was, it's even better. So, yeah.
Oh, man, I mean, the production value. You got the classical music in the background. Who was that? Bach? Beethoven? Who was that? You know, Mars?
You English, Mars. That's why we going to you, Mars, because you English. So we would expect it.
Who was that?
You had the
what was that?
Going, you had the film cameras. It was
that Vivaldi? Penn, you know? Who was that? That classical music in the background, that was beautiful. Before we get back to the conversation we were having, let me hit a couple of these super chats real quick. This one from Follow Red. He says, "Does anyone else ever make Bron this inferior outside of Jokic?"
No, he's never.
The guy's 50. The guy's 50.
I know, but true. He's never had a match
prime,
like
though.
I read something on Twitter where they were saying
KD did not
LeBron looks so inferior because he's never had like this.
No,
he's never had this player to go against where he's not breaking character, and saying like as in breaking character, he's always going to what works. LeBron has always been the guy who's like, okay, no matter what happens on the court, we're not going to look flustered. We're going to keep doing what we do because what we do it at a high level. And it looks like Nikola Jokic is bringing that to him. You know, LeBron has never dealt with, it doesn't matter what I throw it at him. He never looks flustered. He never looks uncomfortable. And LeBron has always been that guy. So now going at Jokic and Jokic being that guy who was like, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you're up 20. It doesn't matter if you're up 5. We're still going to do what we do at a high level because we know at some point we're going to come out on top. And it's like LeBron's always been that guy that's Jokic is being right now. So it makes him look a little. It makes him look inferior. So
what about Kawhi? Has Kawhi ever made LeBron look?
I don't think Kawhi's ever made LeBron.
No,
look
never.
I don't think anyone has made, like, any individual has made LeBron look inferior, like prime LeBron. Now he's had series where he's looked inferior, but I don't think that's because of an individual player. And I think there's guys who have made. I think there's guys who have made LeBron look human.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's guys who have like been able to match LeBron or like not slow him down, but like make LeBron look like he's not 2 steps above everyone. KD would be one of them. I think KD is like.
Well, has he ever conceded control like of a game to someone this consistently for this long?
No.
I think for me that's the real question.
I don't like the word inferior.
Yeah, I don't want to use that word either. I guess
concede
control, like somebody who's in control of every single possession and dominating every single one of those possessions to this degree. LeBron has always been that. I think to John D's point, he's always been the one to determine pace, like to determine the flow of the game, who goes where, when they go where, and done it better than anybody else on the other side of the court. I think KD's had his moments finishing plays, but never had this. Steph Curry obviously had overwhelming talent. I don't think that ever happened. Kawhi, I think, also overwhelming talent in 2014. But again, no discredit to Kawhi. Kawhi was excellent, but I think from this thing,
no one's controlled.
Kawhi had overwhelming talent. Is that what you said?
Well, I meant the 2014 year. I just think that team was just.
I think that team, relatively speaking, collective. Yeah.
I mean, we had top 5 power forward of all time, Chris Bosh.
Oh, we did. Yeah.
You know, I mean, let's keep the narrative straight. You had Dwayne Wade, you had Mike Miller. I mean, who else was on that team? I mean, there's some really good players on that team.
I think what's relevant. This isn't prime LeBron. So like, Jokic clearly outclassing 600-year-old LeBron. Like, yeah, it's LeBron, but it's like if this was 2017 LeBron, I don't think this is looking the way it's. I think that's relevant. Like the guys we're all naming, Kevin Durant, Kawhi, Steph Curry, or whoever, they were going up against the peak or prime, whatever you want to call it, of LeBron James. Jokic didn't do that, and the only time he did do that was 2020. And Jokic was a far inferior player to what he is now 5 years ago. They never matched up prime for prime. So I think that's a relevant thing to say, and I'm just saying that because if this does get clipped, that's going to be all the comments just saying he's 40, he's 50. So I think that's right.
No cat Prince. He just said Nikola Jokic. So,
what's the YouTuber?
Is that his LeBronto? Is that what it is?
Yeah, the YouTuber asked on Twitter, what's the LeBronto equivalent to what Joker's doing to LA?
I don't know what to call it. I don't know what to call it. I think that's pretty cool though. The capital LA.
Nikola. Yeah, Nikola.
Yeah, it's probably something to that.
Just so you guys are clear, this is year 3 now. These how many times the Lakers have beaten them.
LA Jokic.
Just so you guys know.
I mean, that one win was valuable though. They didn't get swept because of that win. So.
No, they didn't. They did not. But I just want to make it clear.
Even that game, the most viral clip from that game was when Jokic got the pass from KTP over the top of his head.
And he tapped it. And he tapped it
to Porter.
Yeah. I want to be clear. Like that 2014 finals, going into it, there was no doubt Vegas had Miami winning that finals.
Vegas, I know, but Vegas, we don't really.
No. Everybody.
That's because contrary to what Swiper just said, there was did not have superior talent.
No, they did not.
Well, they were a better team. They were a better team.
The Spurs didn't have superior talent. I hate when we do this because the Miami Heat were clearly the better team.
Okay. Just semantics.
And by the way, the Miami Heat were also the better team walking into the Dallas series.
No, I'm saying better team. They were the better team. That's all. That's what I'm saying.
That was just a false claim by you. That wasn't semantics.
They were a better team. They were just simply top to bottom a better team. They just
because they won. And had they gotten swept, they'd be saying the opposite. That's what I don't like.
Everything goes into basketball, like the same reason.
The odds lock in before you start playing the game. They don't lock in the third quarter.
So just so you know, and I knew this, but I just had to fact check myself. But I did know this. Just so you know, Penn, going into the 2014 finals, Spurs were the favorites, and they were an overwhelming favorite. It was 4 out of 5. The odds were the Spurs. Yes, in 2014. I knew that. I just had to. I just had to go back. I just had to go back and check that. Yeah, they would.
OKC definitely gave the Spurs a bigger challenge.
Yo,
Yeah.
I
They would have. They would have favored. I do remember that.
You see what happened when Ox and Penn try to unite?
I never brought up any. I'm not talking about Las Vegas. I don't care about the odds or Las Vegas. Most people expect, because the only reason it might have been that way is because it's hard to three-peat, but everybody thought LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh were better as far as talent-wise, top heavy.
They struggled coming into those finals, didn't they? Though, wasn't that like
they struggled against Indiana?
Yeah.
Wade was beat up. Wade was definitely laboring during those NBA finals. He looked heavy. So yeah, I do remember that. I do remember that the Spurs were that the Spurs were the odds-on favorite. It was some of the most beautiful basketball I ever seen.
Great basketball. Football breakdown.
It was not a heavy favorite. It was a slight favorite. They were a slight favorite. They were very slight.
All right. Well, points taken.
Football breakdown says Jokic just lost to a 22-year-old and Gobert.
The Nuggets.
That's how things work, I guess. Yeah, that's exactly how that happened in particular. But Gobert was also excellent in that series, and he was excellent last night versus the Celtics too, by the way. But I guess we're whatever.
Gobert is usually excellent. That's not nothing new.
He's a good basketball player.
Just saying, per the narrative, he's a wasteful defender.
And I know that there are teams. I know that there's teams in the league who recognize this. Sorry, I got something in my throat. I apologize. Keep going.
Okay.
That happened in the parlay too, by the way. But we edited it out. Go ahead.
Beast 46 says Jokic equals GOAT center. Probably going to go through another season without another All-Star. He's playing outside the Matrix.
Go center, no. But do you? If he does this, I'll ask Penn. Start with Penn and then Ox, because I feel like we've had a conversation somewhere before, and then John D. If he does this just maintains what he's done since 21 and now till 2028, so 3 more years. Is he a top 5 player
ever? Wow. If he keeps doing what he's doing,
how long would that be? 8 years.
That would be. Well, this is year 5 of MVP. So then 3 more top of the league years. 3 more.
I need a decade. I need a decade, Swiper. I do.
I feel like, and
that would be.
This might be but I feel there's a drastic difference between this Jokic and 2021 Jokic. Like, he won MVP in 21. Yeah, but like this player that I'm watching now is like he would win MVP unanimously against 21 Jokic. Like, he's that much better.
Okay, so
22 Jokic too, Mars.
Here's a question, because
23 to now is like a different level of player from 22.
Yes.
Okay, but the league is just way more talented today. So who he is technically beating out for these awards also needs to be factored in. So here's the question for y'all. Who is the last player that would win MVP, any iteration of that player, over this current Nikola Jokic?
Like play like
no record.
I'm just saying.
So let's okay.
What
right
version of what player is better than this version?
That was a good question.
Wait, hold on, Chill. For the clip, Penn, ask the question again, and then Chill. You can start it off. Penn, what's the direct question again?
JD know how to edit Swiper?
Sometimes he don't, because them clips don't be making me don't be flattering me.
Look like I'm laughing.
That was crazy, JD. Shout out.
That's good for the clicks, Mark.
So if this version of Jokic is the best version of Jokic we've seen, then my question is, which version of which player over the last 15, 20, 25 years would you say is better than this version of Jokic? Because you're talking about sustaining this peak. Now, it's different to say, oh, you got to be great for 10 years. We got to ask how great and greater than what? Greater than who? It's one thing to say he's the best player in the league. He's not the best player in the league in a watered down league in 2007. He's not the best player in the league in a watered down 2004. He is the best player in the league when there are legit MVP candidates across the board. Because I think there's a question to be had right now. Who's the second best player in the league? A lot of y'all say Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think this version of Giannis would probably win some MVPs across league history. I think he'd win a lot of MVPs. So if he's better than him, then I'm just questioning, is it 2021 Giannis? Is it 2014
Penn, let's run it.
Who's better?
So Penn,
2017 LeBron is the last player I'm convinced is probably better than Jokic.
I was just about to say that because if we ran it down, 23 MB, he better than him, right? I think he's better than 23 MB.
Any modern player post Bron.
He's better
than everyone not named LeBron.
He's better than both 22 and 21 Joker. He's better than 20 Giannis. I think he's better than 19 Giannis. I think he's better than 18 Harden. I think he's better than 17 Russ. Is he better than 16 Curry?
Better than Curry. He's better than Curry 15, 16.
Again, he's not better than 21 Kawhi.
No, okay. Just to be clear. So 30 again. The numbers are 30, 14, 12, 57, 56, 84, and he's smashing every record known to man. So
he's not.
Let me just.
No, but I'm saying, but we're saying this is.
Yeah, but I'm not.
This is him at his best.
Go to 40. Go to 40. Go to 40.
But then I'm gonna pick a Steph Curry stretch from April 2021.
Drop it to 40. Drop it to 40. Drop it to his playoff average. Drop it to his playoff average, which is 40. Just drop it to 40.
Right.
He's a good shooter. That's what I'm dropping it to.
Hang on one second.
Yep.
Going from 2000 till Nikola Jokic won his first MVP. There's 20 MVPs. Okay.
Sure.
We're talking Shaquille O'Neal, Allen Iverson, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Steve Nash, Dirk Nowitzki, Kobe Bryant, 2008, LeBron back-to-back, 09, 010, Derrick Rose, 2011, LeBron back-to-back, 12, 13, KD, Steph back-to-back, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and then back-to-backs for Giannis. What player that I just named is better than this version of Nikola Jokic?
Are we just doing the MVP year? Or
Assume he wins MVP this year because some people have him as the odds-on favorite. What MVP over the last 20 years not named Nikola Jokic himself? Hey, wait. We can also agree that this is also the best version of Jokic, correct?
I agree.
Last year,
I think 2017 LeBron is better than 2017 Russ, but Russ won the MVP. So do I just not count 2017 LeBron because he didn't win the MVP?
I think 2017
he should have averaged a triple-double.
Yeah, he should have done that. I don't even know what he averaged, but so am I just doing? So can I only use 13 LeBron? Is that the most recent?
No. Just do player. Pen. Just do season.
The last player I'm convinced was better than Jokic is 2017 LeBron. This is the 18
playoff run, right?
No, that's 2018. I'm not saying he's definitively. I'm saying 2017 is definitively better.
Yeah,
2018 I had the conversation, but I know how people feel about 2018. So if you want to say 2018, that's fine. 2017, 2018, that LeBron is the last player I think was better than Jokic.
And we're just talking about league MVPs, Moss. That's all we're talking about. We're just talking about league MVPs.
I think he might not win it this year.
No. You have to go.
So we're not just talking about league MVPs. I just want to make sure that. Okay, I just want to make sure that we're clear.
So LeBron is the last one. So 2019, I don't think anyone was better than this Jokic. 2020, no. All the way to now, I don't think so.
36 a game, James Harden.
Nah, he ain't better than Jokic. And then 2016 Curry, I'd consider.
Okay.
And then everything before that, and then Shaq is.
So this is age 32.
And then everyone else, I'll have the conversation.
So to answer the initial question, Swiper, I don't think he has to do this for 3 more years. I think he has to do this for
to be top 5 then?
To be top 5?
Who's your top 5 right now? Yeah, who's your top 5? And then we'll just see who he has to pass.
I think you can. Look, man, I'm not. When I saw the title of this show, I immediately was like, "Oh, here we go again." I didn't even want to do this. I don't want to do the Nikola Jokic Glaze session. But if you're going to talk about how great he is,
stay right here, Penn. Stay right here, Penn. How many more years do you think he got to do?
Why can't? That's so weird. So we did it with LeBron. You did it with Mike.
No, Swiper.
You did it with Shaq. You did it all the time with Kobe.
They're better. Swiper.
Stay right here.
Sure. You think so?
How many more?
You think so? You think so? And he's running the league still, Locks. Your favorite players are running the league still. That doesn't make sense to me.
Stay right here.
That don't make sense. A dude averaging 30 on 60% from the field, 14 rebounds and 12 assists, and we're still
he got zero aura. That's the problem. He just wants to be with his horses, and people don't like him. Okay, and you just gotta cope with that. I don't know how you're gonna cope with that.
I actually like that, Penn. I like players that can relax and not take basketball so
people keep saying no defense. Anthony Davis wouldn't. I literally was running away from him during the game. And we haven't finished talking about the game, by the way. But go ahead, Ben.
We'll get back to it.
Basketball is weirdly complicated, right? And it's gotten more complicated as we've gotten into more dynamic offenses.
Sure.
Frankly, more talented players across the board. The game used to be a little bit simpler. Would y'all agree? The game used to be a little bit simpler to understand, a little simpler to talk about. There was way less involved in terms of what my eyes had to watch for. There was, and the problem is that as the more complicated the game gets, our minds, at least collectively as fans, have not evolved, right?
The game,
sometimes
my bad. Pin. The game is. It's just the fact that we are all on YouTube now, and we have to figure out more things. We gotta dig in and talk about more stuff because there's too much time. We're doing this for 3 hours, so now we gotta make up conversations, do stuff, and just have conversations over and over again, saying different words. We could have did that in 1990 if YouTube was around.
Ox, are you saying that the game is the same as it was 20 years ago?
It's not exactly the same, but it's still a very simple
basketball game. Is basketball.
No,
basketball is basketball. Look, I'm not going to argue that.
I was watching very simple. We could have did all of this if there was YouTube in 1995. We could do this for 3 hours and still make it seem so complicated.
And by the way, I'm so sick of people. I'm so sick of people saying the bigs in this league aren't elite. Victor Wembanyama is already being touted as a top 15 player ever at some point. He's in the league currently. Anthony Davis, go ahead, Ox. Go ahead, Ox.
No. I cut you off, Pin. My bad. That's not my bad.
Listen, I genuinely wanted to watch. I love Latrell Sprewell and Allen Houston. The two of my favorite.
1990 basketball was real.
1990s was real, man. And being a Knicks fan through the 90s, watching that team go up against the San Antonio Spurs in the finals, it was dope. I was really hyped about it. So I went back and I watched some of those games, those playoff games in the finals, just to see how much the game has changed. And holy the game has changed.
It's completely different.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that our mind.
Did you see the MJ criticizers, by the way, Penn, when they were putting Michael's tape up in Game 1 of the NBA Final versus Utah? They're running these horrific half court sets, turning the ball over out. So it's a different level of skill.
Absolutely. And I mean, it becomes a little bit more complicated when you start to say, well, people back then couldn't hang now. No, they would just be playing a different game and they would adapt their God-given abilities and work ethic to that situation, like Michael would, like Bill Russell would, like Shaq would. My point is that because the game has gotten so complicated, we as fans need to get really evolved in terms of how we talk about the game. And I don't think we have gotten there yet. Defensively, offensively, it's all very complicated. So a lot of us use analytics to describe what we're seeing out there. Nikola Jokic is one of the most complicated basketball players I've ever seen in my life. The number of ways that he's impacting the game is really, it's taking everything that Jason Kidd did, a lot of stuff that Shaq did, a lot of stuff that Kareem did, a lot of stuff that is really some of the greatest players of all time, Magic, all those guys, Steve Nash, and it's balling it up into this very weird thing that we've never seen before in the NBA, at least in a superstar in his prime. And so a lot of people are going to say, well, this doesn't look like the superstar big that I grew up watching.
Sure.
So I don't like it. He doesn't block shots like Hakeem. He doesn't snarl at people like Shaq. He's not, necessarily. He's not an
elite athlete like David Robinson.
Not an athlete. So I don't really get what these numbers are saying about him. But really, he's doing all the same stuff that a lot of those other guys did. He's making players better, just like Magic did. He's passing out of the post way better than Shaq did, in my opinion. He's clogging up space. He's dominating in the paint. He's got a higher true shooting percentage probably on his career than Shaq does. He's doing a lot of the same stuff. You just don't like it because it's not familiar. So, look, the truth is, right now, very much so, you could say his best years are really up there with any of those guys in the top five. His best years are up there with LeBron. His best years are up there with Magic. The issue is he has one championship, and he's on a team.
That's not the only issue. And a lot of times, I think that you in particular think that when somebody doesn't like the same thing you like, that they don't understand. And I don't think that's the case.
That is the case sometimes, though, Ox. That's why they don't like it. They don't get it.
No. Sometimes they don't like it because they don't like it. Like they don't have. But I understand that. I understand that. But I'm saying, like, sometimes people want to, sometimes people are like, well, he doesn't do this. He doesn't play. Oh, for instance, this is a perfect example with Jokic. I've seen a lot of people say, oh, well, what about the defense? And for them to say that, and then you talk about, well, he does this, he does that. Okay, that's fine. He's great. Jokic is great. I'm not here to tear down Jokic. I think he's an amazing player. I think he is one of the great centers. He will go down as one of the great centers of all time. Some people are like, well, he doesn't protect the rim. And then you get guys like Swiper and Penn who would talk about his playmaking and this and that. And they're like, yeah, but he doesn't protect the rim. And then they're like, well, you just don't understand how. Well, no. They understand.
No.
They understand
it doesn't make sense because hold on. I get that. I've heard, but again, Mark, I have heard that criticism of that man for years. At the end of the day, everybody said going into the last Monday, the best two-way player in the sport is Anthony Davis. Everybody knows he's one of the best rim protectors in the league. He's been one of the best offensive players in the league. We all agree on that. But he's one of the best rim protectors since 2000, by the way, over the course of his career. And he can't hold a
Anthony Davis.
Okay.
And he can't hold a candle.
You're doing exactly what I just said.
I'm not. Let me finish the point. All I'm saying is everybody keeps bringing up this nonsense about that. I'm cool. He'll never be that. I get it. It's a preferential thing. I understand that people don't like the fact that he can't jump high, that he can't block shots, and that's not something he can consistently do in the regular season. The issue is every time he faces one of the elite two-way centers, he mauls them, and it doesn't end up mattering.
You are doing exactly what I just said, Swiper. I don't think you realize what I'm saying.
I know what I'm doing, but Magic was the same way.
Swiper, please, bro, please relax, because I know we're talking about Jokic, and I know you're getting a little upset because we're talking about Jokic. I'm not gonna move. See, Swiper, this is what you do. No, you're gonna have to listen to this because we have
it's the same thing with Magic. We heard this.
No. Okay, that's fine. We're not talking about Magic right now. If we're talking about Magic, then do that. We're talking about Jokic. The title is Nikola Jokic runs the NBA. The thumbnail is Nikola Jokic sitting on the throne. So we're going to talk about Nikola Jokic, Swiper. I don't care how you feel about it. That's the title of the show. So
let's talk about the criticism about Jokic.
It doesn't make sense.
No,
it's a good title. Look,
relax, because what I'm saying is you just did what I said. Nobody's saying he's not great. What I'm saying is that particularly guys like you and Penn cannot accept that people don't like that he doesn't protect the rim. And then you're saying, well, when he goes against Anthony Davis, who's an elite rim protector, he kills him. That's a fact. We already said that. But you can't tell people that they don't understand what they're looking at because they don't like that he doesn't protect the rim.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really, you're cool. You can speak for some of those people. I heard these same dumb arguments, not from you, Ox. Dumb arguments that said that he was the worst MVP since David Cowens. I remember that. I remember the era when he said he was a back-to-back MVP. That's cool. That's cool. He was a back-to-back MVP, and people said he wasn't a top 5 player. March 2023. I remember this. I was in the room. I was listening to these people. So the same people that had criticism, and then they said he couldn't win a title, and then he dominates to a title, and then, he didn't play nobody on the way to a title. It's all nonsense. It's not based on reality at all. It's all based on preference. It's that simple. If you prefer a certain big, then cool. But all the criticism, none of it's really logistically lodged in anything that's an actual argument. It's narratives. Go ahead, Mars.
Is it based on reality that Jokic isn't a good rim protector?
He's not a good rim protector. He'll never be. I even argued this the other day. He's never going to be one. Factually.
So, is it also in reality that the most important position for rim protection is the 5 spot?
100%.
Historically, yes, 1,000%.
Okay. So, is it also then, based on those two conclusions, is it reasonable for people to want their center to be a good rim protector and therefore have an issue when he is not?
Yes, it is reasonable to think that.
Okay, so if it is reasonable, if it is reasonable for people to want to value rim protection at the 5 spot, why do we then have to bring up everything else he does offensively and away from that when their issue with Jokic is about the rim protection? If you want to convince them of what they believe, instead of just saying, well, he does this, and this on offense, that's not how you convince someone. If you want to convince them, you either have to try and convince them that Jokic is probably better defensively.
I'm not pushing back against people that value that.
Yeah, and that's fine. You either have to convince them that he's better defensively than he is, than they think, or that his rim protection value isn't as detrimental as they believe it to be because of difference in error or other things he brings to the table. That's how you convince someone. You can't just be yelling about, oh, well, he makes these reads out the post. Like, that's not going to convince someone. So if you want to convince someone and have them speak on your playing field or come to your conclusion or get somewhere close to it, instead of just repeating the same point over and over that they clearly don't care about, you're going to have to come to their worldview and either convince them.
But again, I'm cool. But I'd be fine with that if they listen. Because again, we brought this up after the Miami.
I'm sorry, Swipe. I have to mute you. Unfortunately, I got to do my job. I can't get fired today. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? It's just, hey, bro. I would love to hear it, man. I really would. But hey, super chats talk, bro. Super chats talk, man. Jordan Major said, "No more Glaze Fest. Can we get to the games from the weekend? 1, my Knicks need a center. 2, Mavs shaky, but I think they'll be good. 3, Jalen Green, you need to be gone. 4, Franz is that dude. Spitting. 5, Who is getting Cam Johnson?
Sound like this is what we got. Sound like for Jordan. This is what we got to talk about for the rest of the show. We ain't got to talk about nothing else.
I mean, the tie was about Jokic. We ain't even out. So like, we can continue to talk about Jokic. I do want to get to Franz Wagner.
Hijack the entire show. Okay, hang on.
We're gonna get. It's not gonna hijack the whole show. We got hijacking
the show.
We got 2 whole hours, bro. You're gonna have to just calm down. We'll get there, bro. We're gonna get back.
I want to talk about. I'm down to do that.
Basically telling us that we're wrong, and then you're not letting people respond.
We got 2 hours, bro. Calm down.
Let's do it.
You'll be all right. Just breathe. So does anybody got anything to say about the Knicks and the need for a center? No.
I mean, I would like to talk about them after we get done with Jokic.
Right.
Yeah, is that fair?
Well, I mean, yeah. We could get to them saying briefly. Does anybody want to just go
they need Mitchell Robinson back. I wouldn't make any trades if I was the Knicks. Their defense is bad, in part because of Cat, in part because of Mikal Bridges and his defensive fall off. But offensively, they're a really, really good unit. So I wouldn't make trades, but I do think they need to get healthy as soon as possible because Cat at the 5 is not a tenable situation defensively. That would be the thing. And then everything else, the Mavs shaky, but I think they'll be good. Yeah, Luke is out. I'm not going to overreact too much. They tend to figure things out towards the trade deadline and All-Star break anyway. So as long as they're in the playoff spots, I think they'll be good. Jalen Green, I have no comments. I'm just him and Fred VanVleet. I'm no comment. But at least we're winning games, so cool. But no comment.
So let's rewind, Moss, to this Knicks fan when he said that my Knicks need a center. You knew that with Mitchell Robinson last year. You knew that with Mitchell Robinson the year before that. So this isn't news that all of a sudden Mitchell Robinson is hurt. He's always been like that, and you've won, and you've always had him in the lineup. You built this team to beat the Boston Celtics and the Boston Celtics only. That's it. That's how this team was put together. This team wasn't put together to do nothing else but to beat the Boston Celtics. And the Mavs look shaky. Really? They won 4 of their last 5 without Luka in the lineup. They rolling.
Yeah, but
they lost in a dogfight
against Miami.
They lost in a dogfight last night to Miami in overtime, by the way. They lost in a dogfight. The ball moving more. Kyrie Irving is having a difficult time closing games.
Who lost Jimmy Butler, though?
Yeah. And Jimmy Butler's actually playing better. Jimmy Butler's playing a lot better.
But who had Spencer Dinwiddie closing? Interesting.
Oh, my goodness. I mean,
I'll tell you one
Luka on the
floor.
But that's Luka on the floor, though, Mars. If Luka's available, Dinwiddie's off the floor, and
Luka hasn't been great closing games either.
No,
the Mavs haven't been great closing games in general, but I think they'll be fine. Jalen Green, like I said, no comment. Franz is that dude that we need to talk about Orlando.
Yeah, I got some stats.
We definitely will.
Cam Johnson's going to be a February type discussion when he gets moved to a contender. Then that makes more sense. But yeah,
John D, you got anything in here that you want to speak on?
When we start, actually, because I have a feeling we're not done with the Jokic conversation. So once we're done with those, I'll bring my stats to the table and give my opinions. But I'll just wait for that.
As long as they want Jalen Green stats, we good over here. We don't need those stats. That's all. We done.
It's more Franz because after he put a knife in my heart.
Told you guys like
Franz is like that. Franz is like that for sure. Pin, swiper, carry on.
The floor is you guys again.
Unless you don't feel like
going back to the conversation we were having.
We don't have to, Pin. We got enough super chats. If you don't want to get to it, I mean,
if you don't want to talk about Jokic,
I suggest you get to it right now because once we move on, we're moving on. Let's go, brother.
Look, what I was trying to say earlier was that because the game is so complicated, we do have to adjust the number of factors we're looking at. And unfortunately, the way we look at basketball is by archetypes, right? We judge shooting guards by how closely they resemble Michael Jordan, right? We judge centers by how closely they resemble other centers, right? So it isn't until a player comes along that breaks the archetype that starts to sort of change how we look at that player. For instance, prior to guys like Allen Iverson, Steph Curry, typically we saw a lot of playmakers, pass-first guys. Like, it wouldn't be fair to say Allen Iverson is terrible because he's not John Stockton. It's also not fair to say Steph Curry's terrible because he's not Magic Johnson, right? Obviously, different players, because they play the same position. I mean, we can agree that Magic Johnson and Steph Curry technically both are point guards, right? We can agree that as a rookie, at least, Allen Iverson was a point guard. We can agree that Steve Nash was a point guard, but these players are completely different, right? We can agree Gary Payton was a point guard. And we can agree, by the way, mind you, that defense is important at the point of attack. It might be the second most important place on the court to stop the basketball because that's the penetrating position. That's a very, I would argue, the point guard position, the most talented position in the league. So why don't we hold point guards who have defensive issues to the same level that we hold a center that might have defensive issues? That's the first point, right? It's because we think of great centers, they're all great defenders.
Sure.
They're all big shot blockers. And Jokic is not a big shot blocker. But I think to Mars's point, because the game is so complex now, we do need to stop and say, because the guy doesn't block shots, just like a perimeter defender who does not steal the ball, does that mean they're necessarily terrible? Right? So what about a big who deflects the ball at a 95th percentile rate? What is it fair to say that? What about a big who blocks a lot of shots but doesn't rebound like Jokic? Can we say Miles Turner is a pylon?
You mean like Jaren Jackson, for example?
Sure. So Jaren Jackson is a top three guy for a lot of people among centers, right? Bam Adebayo, right? Another guy, right?
Sure.
Jaren Jackson doesn't rebound. Miles Turner doesn't rebound like Jokic. Sure. Rebounding is a huge part of defense.
Yeah.
Deflections are a huge part of defense. Disrupting flow is a huge part of defense. Communication is a huge part of defense. All of these things are a really big part of defense. And just because the guy doesn't do this one thing that you have gotten accustomed to your center doing, it doesn't mean he's terrible at all these other things that he does do. Just like Steph Curry may not be as gifted a playmaker as the greatest point guards of all time, but he's 100 times better shooter. But do we retroactively say because Magic Johnson couldn't shoot like Steph, he's no longer a top 5 point guard? Look, every great player breaks the mold. Every great player. Wilt broke the mold. Bill Russell broke the mold. I don't get to say that Shaquille O'Neal is not a top 10 player because he didn't run the floor like Bill Russell in his prime. I don't get to say that
floor, man. Shaq used to get up and down that court.
Shaq used to, but I'm saying later on in his career, right? He wasn't doing that stuff, right? I don't get to say, and I don't believe that I get to say that Steph Curry is not a top 10 player, top 15 player because he don't pass like Magic. Because the point guard position is supposed to pass. I think every one of these players are in themselves. And look at a guy like Giannis. Giannis broke the mold. Did he not?
Yes, he did.
We don't see players like Giannis in the NBA, a 7-footer who can run like that. KD broke the mold. Dirk broke the mold. All the great players broke the fucking mold.
But the difference though, Penn, is that when we're talking about specific positions, you do have a job at your specific position, right?
Yes,
so
you do.
When we talk about the lead guard, okay, the lead guard, the game has changed. We got more scoring lead guards in the game today than we've ever had. Is that correct? I think we've got more guys, Trae Young, De'Aaron Fox, Brunson. We got more scoring lead guards in the game. LaMelo Ball, guys that can score the basketball at the lead guard spot. Not like we did 22 years ago, not like we did 30 years ago, right? We didn't have that. However, that is a part of your job to be a distributor. That is a part of your job to be a playmaker. And the fact that where we are now, when it comes to the lead guard, we are in a space where that's looked at more. The fact that if you can score, you're the best lead guard in the game. So we kind of take away from the other stuff that you're supposed to be good at too. So when you're talking about Joker being a 5-man, you're talking about Joker not blocking shots like Olajuwon, not manning the paint like Patrick Ewing does. Even though I think Joker does defend. I'm not one of these people that's in the space where I don't think Joker defends at all. But this is what the 5-man does. That's part of his job, to protect the paint, to protect the rim, to rebound. That's part of the 5-man's job.
Does a lot of that.
100% he does, Ben. I'm not arguing that point. The point I am arguing is when you are putting him up with the best to ever do it, that's part of it.
Look, I think we tend to talk about people that we don't like, and to put it out to you, Ox. There are certain players that collectively a lot of people don't like, and a lot of people do like. Now, if you don't like a player, you're going to talk about what they don't do a lot. You're going to frame the entire discussion by what they don't do. So if you don't like Clyde, you're going to talk about how he didn't do this or that. He didn't shoot enough this. He didn't do that. If you don't like Michael, you're going to say he didn't shoot enough threes. If you don't like D Wade, you're going to say he didn't play long enough. But if you do like a player, you're going to talk way more about what they do. So here's the question. Does Nikola Jokic do center things? If you watch Nikola Jokic just as a dot on the screen, as opposed to a player who's a 7-footer, 6'11", whatever he is, walking around the court, just as a dot. I'm saying like a computer simulation. You're watching him. You got an above. Yeah, you're just watching a dot pinging up and down. You're seeing a guy who's running the break, who's handling the ball, who's passing up in transition. You're seeing the ball move. You would probably think he was a point guard, or at least a 3, right? But because he's 6'11" and he's the biggest guy on his team,
he gets on the block a lot. Jokic is on the block.
Sure.
So I think he plays like a center. He can facilitate.
He doesn't play like a center.
Penn, he's a center. Look, he's on the block so much. And I think what you said a second ago is true, but it's also a cop out. A lot of times it's like, oh, if I bring up what somebody doesn't do well, oh, you just don't like him. Well, no, I'm just talking about what I'm looking at on the basketball court.
Well, is it fair to say Domantas Sabonis is trash because he doesn't play good defense?
Domantas Sabonis is not in the all-time great conversation, so let's not even bring him into this. Nikola Jokic is. So yes, we're gonna talk.
Was Magic Johnson a great defender?
He wasn't.
Was Larry Bird a great defender?
Yes,
he was a good
defender.
Bird was, yes. Okay.
Well, hold on. Well, I'm not. I don't want to argue with you, Penn. I just want to. Let's not go too far. Let's just stay where we are, yo. Let's stay where we are. I think it's okay to call out some of the things he doesn't do well and still say he's an all-time great. We don't have to go overboard and act like this stuff isn't true.
People just ignore what he does.
We're not ignoring that. We're just talking about other things.
No,
too.
because that is the conversation, Ox. You're missing the point.
I'm not missing the point. I was trying to read the super chat, but you wouldn't let me. I want to point out because I feel like you're really onto something, and that I agree with most of what you were saying. I just don't agree with the fact that we're bringing up the bad stuff because we don't like him. I think most people like Nikola Jokic, and I think we just want to talk about the fact that hey, he doesn't protect the rim very well, and then once again, guys like you and Swiper get really upset about that, and it's like, bro, it's just a fact, bro. And I want to let Mars jump in. I'm gonna take a step back. I'm gonna let you and Mars have the floor. Go ahead, Mars.
I want to first make sure that because I'm just trying not mediate, but I'm just trying to make sure that everyone's like having the same conversation. So, Penn, are you making the claim or the argument that all-time greats or transcendent players break the mold of what is typically expected from their position or from the game of basketball to the point where holding them to that standard does more harm than good? Steph Curry is a point guard. If you held him to a John Stockton standard, you would view Steph Curry as worse than he is because you're holding him to a standard that he's broke the mold of. Magic Johnson is a 6'9" point guard, for example. Kevin Durant, Jokic. Is that the claim you're making? That putting players in these boxes does more harm than good because you get players who have transcended that box and have made impacts on the game and how the game should be played or how they can play the game to the point where it doesn't matter that they don't do the things that are expected of them because they do so much more that is extremely valuable. Is that the claim you're making?
I'm making the claim that subconsciously we have a particular stencil for what we expect certain basketball players to do. We expect our wings today to be able to shoot threes. We didn't expect that 20 years ago. We expect our bigs to be able to block shots, right? We expect our bigs to be on the block. So now when Chilltown, especially, as someone who grew up watching the game through the 80s and 90s, sees a big who doesn't like to get on the block, he's like, he needs to get on the block more. He needs to get on the block more because that's the archetype. And what I'm saying is transcendent players become their own archetypes. Michael Jordan is not, you could say there's something close to Michael Jordan prior to Michael Jordan, but it wasn't quite Michael Jordan. You could say there's something close to Jokic. There have been playmaking bigs, not to this level. There have been playmaking bigs who can rebound. Sure, not to this level. There have been playmaking bigs who can shoot 38, 40% from three in a season, not to this level. So what he's doing at the center position is transcendent in the same way that what Steph Curry did at the point guard position is transcendent. It needs to become its own archetype.
Right.
Okay, so let's say that was part one. Sorry, Ox. Let's say for the sake of argument that everyone agrees with that and that Jokic is building a new mold and he is the first of his kind, for example. I think the issue that comes from this is no one in the chat or up here is arguing against Jokic's greatness or that he provides so much value that he's an all-timer and he's the best player in the league and all of those things. This conversation started, and I want to bring it back to that, of if Jokic does this for the next 3 or 4 years, is he top 5 of all time? So we aren't having the conversation of is Jokic better than Giannis or is he the best in the world or that is he top 5 of all time? So when we're comparing him to those guys, and I'm not saying I have a definitive top 5, but let's say Michael Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, Magic, Bird, Tim Duncan, Kobe, Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, if you factor those guys in, those are the guys in and around Hakeem. Those are the guys in and around that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So we're comparing Jokic to those guys. So when we are doing that, it then becomes a question of is what Jokic brings, and then also you have to bring up what he doesn't bring, the same way you do for these other all-time greats. Is what Jokic brings versus what he doesn't bring more valuable, more impactful, provide more to the court than what those guys do? Is Jokic's offensive transcendence, playmaking, scoring, all of that more valuable than Hakeem's two-way brilliance? Is it more valuable than Shaq's pure interior dominance?
Yes.
Shot blocking. Is it more valuable than Magic Johnson leading some all-time great offenses as a 6'9" point guard who's doing everything for his team? Is it more valuable than Kareem being maybe the best scoring center of all time? Is it more valuable than Bill Russell being the best defender of all time? Is it more valuable than LeBron James being maybe the most versatile player we've ever seen? Is it more valuable than everything Michael Jordan did? That's the conversation we're putting Jokic in with this topic. So it's not about, oh, well, Sabonis doesn't rim protect, so why don't we say Sabonis is trash? No one's saying Jokic.
All-time great.
No one's saying Magic Johnson is trash. But when we talk about Magic Johnson versus Jokic, because in return the top 5 conversation, then those things will become relevant. Then we could talk about Magic Johnson's defensive shortcomings and be like, was that more detrimental than Jokic's lack of rim protection? Blah, blah, blah. Like, but if we're trying to paint the image of everyone who doesn't think that Jokic is in these talks thinks he's trash, no one's saying no one thinks.
Wait, hold on real quick. This super chat is very, it really matters in this conversation. I want to chill. I want to direct this to you because it seems like a consensus around the chat in the community and PC is that particularly chill. Me and you are stuck in the old ways, and I don't agree with that. But I want to ask you this, Chill. Shouldn't the universal goal of furthering basketball discourse trump what you like? Because the reason discourses take so long to catch up to the reality of the game is because people's bias hold back discussion of the game. What do you think about that, Chill?
I think that I've changed with the game 100%. If I didn't change with the game, I'd be stuck in 1987. I wouldn't think that Joker was awesome. I wouldn't think that Joel Embiid, or I wouldn't think that none of these guys were awesome. Why? Specifically because what we're talking about right now. Because I would hold him to the standard as a defensive player to Olajuwon. I would hold him to that standard of Patrick Ewing. And I don't, because the game has changed. The game is different now. Big guys play further away from the basket than they did offensively. And because they play further away from the basket offensively, defensively they play further away from the basket. I watched Joker drag Rudy Gobert 22, 24 feet away from the basket. That wasn't going on 35, 40 years ago. That was not happening, right? Big guys played on the block, and it was effective. And people won doing that. And that's what I expected before, only except Joker, Giannis. These guys have won doing it differently. And I had to change with the times. Otherwise, I'd be stuck in the past. So basketball discord 100% trumps what I like, because I would love to see Shaquille O'Neal back. I would love to see Olajuwon back. I would love to see these guys back, but they're gone. Mm-hmm. They're not here anymore. And I respect the fact that they're not here anymore. And I respect the fact that this is what the game is today. Joker, Giannis, Joel Embiid, Rudy Gobert. That's what the game is today. Anthony Davis, big guys playing further away from the basket and not doing what's conventional. Even though that was winning, this wins too. So yes, absolutely.
Right. I don't think that's what the comment meant.
But you do still hold some of your.
Mars, can you translate this comment?
Shouldn't the universal goal of having what this was Trump? What you like? Because the reason is,
I'm sorry. I don't think that response necessarily.
Wait a minute. Once again, shouldn't the universal goal of furthering basketball, which means advancing the game, despite what I like, it should trump that? Yes.
No. You're getting
it's plain English. And I don't think we need a
because the discourse takes so long to catch up. Hold on, Penn. Because the discourse takes so long to catch up with reality. Why? Because people my age are still stuck back there.
It's not just people. It's like just 4 minutes.
This is the most ironic comment in the world.
12 minutes ago, you just made that point about Jaren Jackson's rebounding. And like you still call Steph Curry not a point guard. So like you still hold some of like, I'm not going to call them outdated.
100%.
I'm not going to call them outdated beliefs, but you still do hold some things that's like you just said, I want to say 10 minutes ago, that there's things that you are meant to do by virtue of your position.
100%.
A big is meant to do this. A point guard is meant to do that. I think this super chat is saying, shouldn't the way the game is being played and just instead of just holding on to, I believe the game should be done like this, shouldn't we leave that stuff in the past instead of holding like this arbitrary standard of a center does this, a point guard does this? Instead of putting people in those boxes, shouldn't we just look at everyone's a basketball player playing towards the goal of helping our team win? So if my point guard is somehow my best rebounder, That's excellent value. It's not, it's less valuable because he's a point guard.
Well, we've seen that.
It's still excellent value.
But we've seen that, though, Mars. We've seen Russell
holding back the discourse. Well, he wasn't their best. That's a whole different conversation. But are we holding back discourse by expecting things from people just by virtue of the position in which they play? Are we holding back Steph Curry from certain conversations because he doesn't make like these guys, so he can't be as good as them? Or Jokic doesn't defend like these guys, so he can't be as good as them? Because that's a big part of the argument that people are making about Jokic in the chat. That's a big part of the argument why Steph Curry hasn't been called a point guard and we're in 2024. So are we holding back the progression of basketball discussion by putting people in a box of what a position is meant to do? That's the question, I believe.
So it has nothing to do with bringing Shaq back, is what I'm saying, Cho. That has nothing to do with anything. The entire conversation.
It
no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, Cho. It has to do with the concept of, should our goal of understanding what's happening today trump any nostalgia that we have really about the past and what used to happen and what should happen based on the past? Is what I'm saying, is basically saying, should we just close our eyes, refresh, and look at the game brand new without having to consider what was happening before? Because if we always compare the present to the past, we are always using that past.
Where do they do that in any form of work? Where do they do that? Anywhere where they just forget what was going on 20 years ago, where they just forget what was going on 30 years ago. They don't do that anywhere in any form of life.
It's not about forgetting it. It's about not expecting it to maintain throughout history and then saying that this isn't as good or this can't be good because it's not what it was 30 years ago. Nobody
is saying forget the past. I'm saying for a moment, just close your eyes and forget that this is the same game that we're playing, because it's not the same game. Okay, it's not the same game. It's not played the same way. There's a 3-point line. And again, every time something new comes around, like teams shooting 50, 63s, everyone hates it for a bit, right? People hate new things because they don't match up with their expectation of reality, right? And so when things threaten our expectations of reality, not to get too deep, chat, but like for real, like some of these conversations do need to go deep because they're deep. It's our brain. I grew up watching the game this way. My shooting guard is supposed to drive into the paint. Now my shooting guard is taking pull-up threes from the logo with 12 seconds on the shot clock. This guy's a bum, but he's not a bum. He's playing a new game. And we call it the same game. And this doesn't mean you get to forget the past. It doesn't mean you have to forget, all the contributions of the past. It doesn't mean you get to forget the fact that the past brought you to the present. But it also doesn't mean that you get to drag down the present because it doesn't match your expectations of the past.
And I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. However,
I think, in fairness, chill. I respect the hell out of you, but you do.
Hold on, Pin, let him respond, bro.
I expect, okay, when there is a standard, that's how we get to be great, because there's a standard that you have to meet when you're becoming great. And when I'm talking about a guy like Jaren Jackson, for example, you play the power forward spot and you are the defensive player of the year. There's a part of you in being the defensive player of the year that you have to do. Now, I understand that the game has changed. I understand that the big man is different than he was 20 years ago. The big man is different than he was 30 years ago. But there's some things that don't go away. And one of those things that don't go away as a big man is you got to get on the glass. You can't sell me that just because now the game is more spread out and guys are playing on the perimeter more, which I love, which I absolutely love. I love when Kukoc did it. I love when Jaren Jackson does it. I love when Anthony Davis does it. But you still have to do big man things in order for us to win. That has to happen. And I'm not going to go away from that just because I still like what's going on today and the direction that the big man is going. I know that you're saying that I can't have my cake and eat it too, but I can have some of it. Yes, I can. I 100% can have some of it. And you as a big man, I expect you, if you're going to shoot threes, yes, I expect you if you're going to play on the perimeter. I still expect you to do other
We just have to have a more nuanced discussion about this, Chill, because how do you compare a deflection to a pass? A deflection to a block? How do you compare those things?
First of all, Penn, I want you to rewind. really quick.
Isn't it the same thing? Isn't it kind of the same thing? If you think about it, isn't a deflection a block?
Just so you know, in 1989, Olajuwon was in the top 5 in the league in steals. Just so you know. So this is not something that wasn't going on. He was in the top. I'm sorry.
Super great. He had great hands.
That was going on. So it's not like a big man wasn't doing that.
The last 4 years, but
No, I get that. What I'm saying is, what is this obsession that shot blocking is the only way? Like, here's the thing. If you're a great defensive rebounder, right, who doesn't block a lot of shots, but you box out everybody and you make sure that the opposing team has almost no chance at offensive rebounding while you're on the court.
Why aren't you getting rebounds? Why?
But no. You are getting rebounds. That's what I'm saying. You're a great defensive rebounder. You box out. You make sure, because of your strength and your timing and your ability to sort of know where the ball is coming off the rim, You make it so that it's almost impossible for the offense to get second chances. How is that any different than shot blocking? How is that any less valuable than shot blocking? So the question is, do you prefer a guy who gets 4 blocks but gives up 7 offensive rebounds? Or do you prefer a guy who gets no blocks and gives up 0 offensive rebounds?
Well,
that's the question.
There's a difference.
So hold on.
Well, I mean, if you're shooting 90% of the rim, then your rebounding doesn't mean that.
Do y'all want anybody to answer the question? You just asked 3 questions back to back. Like,
just so you know,
is that a question?
I don't want to give the way that teams shoot the long ball today. I don't want to give up 7-8 offensive rebounds and a possible 20 extra points. I don't want to do that. Hell no. I absolutely don't want to do that. No way do I want to do that. I want my big guy, not only my big guy, I want people on the glass so we don't have to do that. Yes, because rebounding, because when I rebound the ball, I take away your opportunity to score. That's what I do when I rebound the basketball. When I shot block, I can block the shot to one of your guys. When I shot block, I can block the shot out of bounds. You get the ball back. When I rebound, you no longer have the basketball. And I limit your opportunities to score. And the last thing that I want to do is keep giving you more opportunities at the long ball line or at the rim to score. I don't want to do that. No.
I still want to answer that rhetorical question. I still want to answer that rhetorical question because if I'm not a rim protector, but I'm a great rebounder, then that means it's on the offense to miss. You know what I'm saying? That means I'm on the rebounding if you miss the shot. Sure. If I can protect the rim, that means I can deter you from missing the shot. So that means I can do my work in advance. You know what I mean? So there is a difference between somebody that rebounds a lot and somebody that rim protects. Ideally, you would like your big men to be able to do both. But if you can't see me personally, I don't want no guy that's out there just trying to block shots but can't clean up the glass. You know what I'm saying? I want you to be able to rebound. And I would honestly, if I had to choose one, Mars, I want somebody that's going to rebound. You know what I mean? But I think rim protection is very, very important. I think because then once again, like I said, if I'm not protecting the rim, then I gotta count on you to miss, right? But as a shot blocker, I can deter all that. So there is a difference between those two guys.
Was Hassan Whiteside a good defender?
At times in his career, he was a very good defender. At times in his career, yes. But I think
he was overrated. He was a
guy that was on. He was a guy that was on a roller coaster. You know what I'm saying? He was a guy that was on a roller coaster. Sometimes he was great. Sometimes he wasn't.
But in fairness, you know, he would block a lot of shots. He would get a lot of rebounds, but he was very compromised at times on switches. He often missed rotations to the corner. He wouldn't communicate well. So there's a lot that goes into defense. What I'm trying to say, and I've said it many times on the show, is there's 10, 12, 15 different things that go into defense, and we can't just hone in on that one thing, because Klay Thompson did not rack up a lot of steals in his prime. He was not a big steals guy, but he was a great defender during his prime, right? So we can agree that not everything is going to look the same, okay? And every defender is not going to look like Gary Payton and Michael Jordan. Some of them are going to look like Drew Holiday. Some of them are going to look like Marcus Smart. Some of them are going to look, you know, like Klay Thompson, and they're all good perimeter defenders. The end goal is this: basketball has to come down to a universal basic, something that has held true from the 50s to the 60s to now, which is the team that scores more points always wins, and the player that helps his team score more and stops the other team from scoring more is usually the best player. So what are you doing on the court that is helping your team score? And what are you doing on the court on the other end that's stopping the other team from scoring? Defensive rebounding is stopping the other team from getting offensive rebounds, which usually results in open threes and usually putbacks. The most efficient shots in the NBA come off of offensive rebounds. That's why defensive rebounding is so important. Deflections disrupt offense, delay offense. Delayed offense is less efficient. So once again, you have the more nuanced discussion and you start to see why Nikola Jokic actually has such positive analytics defensively is because he does all these little things. Now, if he was blocking shots like Hakeem, he would be the greatest player of all time. Easily. So you're really honing in on that one thing he doesn't do, and you're ignoring maybe 50,000 things he does well and zoning in on that one thing. Because really,
is he on like on the perimeter defender or anywhere? Is he moving his feet, standing in front of defenders, making them change directions? Anything? Is he good at that as well?
I think he could move his feet better than Patrick Ewing on the perimeter. I'll give you that much.
But then you're doing the inverse of what you're saying people shouldn't do in terms of saying we shouldn't hold modern players to today's standards.
We definitely shouldn't. What I'm saying,
but then you're saying Ewing doesn't move his feet on the perimeter, but he wasn't asked to do so. So that it didn't affect. It didn't affect him. And also, before his knee injuries, he did move pretty well anyway. But even if he didn't, that's not relevant because in the 80s and 90s, the game was played within 20 feet. So he didn't have to extend to 35 feet. So then saying he wasn't good at it, like what relevance does that have? The same way it's not relevant that a guard today is doing something that a guard 4 years ago wasn't doing. Does that make sense?
If offense was less dynamic and more at the rim, do you think there's an era in which Jokic could have averaged 2.5 blocks per game? He's a big dude. He has 7.5, 7'4" wingspan. I'm pretty sure if he was just and defense of 3 seconds in the key, does that not change the equation a little bit?
I think Jokic would look like a better defender in previous generations where he didn't have to extend.
That's exactly it.
But I don't think for most people, maybe for like the real casuals, maybe it's about shot blocking. I don't think for like when hopefully we have a smart community here, hopefully, and people up here, I think we're relatively smart. I don't think it's about shot blocking. Jokic is just not a good paint presence. He's not a good rim deterrent, and he's not a good shot blocker, and he doesn't alter a lot of shots around the rim. So like he could average 3 blocks, and then still like the other 80 possessions a game is still free real estate. So it's not about how many shots he's blocking. It's about the fact that teams don't fear him at the rim. Teams are wildly more efficient when he's the contesting defender at the rim. And he's not a very willing defender around the rim. Like Marc Gasol wasn't a big shot blocker, but he was a great paint presence. Fantastic. And I'm using him for reference because he was on your Raptors team and you know how valuable he was defensively. So the issue with Jokic as a rim protector paint presence is not about the shot blocking numbers. Jokic could get 2 blocks a game now. He gets those little like low blocks where like the ball's still in your hands and he'll like knock it away or something. Or they count some of those swipe downs as blocks and some are steals. Like it's weird how they do that. That's how Fred VanVleet was averaging like a block a game. Like so he could get block numbers, but he's still not going to be a great rim protector, great paint presence. And yes, I think it's unfair to not unfair, but I think we're past the point where we say a center has to be able to do this, like in terms of being a paint presence. But for the Denver Nuggets, they have no one who's a paint presence. So when the team has no one who's a paint presence, you probably look towards the biggest guy on the team, like, hello, help us out here. And he doesn't do that. So they have to change their scheme in which Jokic plays his part in the scheme. So for me, Mike Malone deserves credit, and then the personnel deserve credit for making Jokic viable within their scheme. He hedges hard. He understands his rotations. He understands his responsibilities. But the reason in which Denver play that scheme, which is very aggressive and help, they try to give up those skip passes and rotate out of it, all of those things, that's because of Jokic's shortcomings as a defender. And I think we should be able to mention those things and say that's relevant when we talk about how good Jokic is, especially when we're comparing him to the all-time greats of the sport. If we're comparing him to Nick Claxton, respectfully, his defense isn't that relevant. I'm not about to hear, well, Nick Claxton's an elite defender, so like we're not going to do that. But when we were comparing him to Hakeem and Shaq and Larry Bird and Michael Jordan and LeBron James and Wilt Chamberlain, I think it becomes relevant that Jokic is flawed, the same way Magic Johnson's flaws are relevant, the same way Steph Curry's flaws are relevant, the same way LeBron James, especially early career flaws, were extremely relevant. LeBron was maybe the best player in the world in 2009, but it's still relevant to point out he had a very bad jump shot, a very streaky jump shot, I'll say, and he didn't have much of a back to the basket game to punish smaller opponents, and all of those things. Those things are relevant, especially when you get to the top of the tree where Jokic is trying to get to. We start nitpicking. Like it's not relevant that LeBron didn't have a great jump shot if you compare him to Rashard Lewis. But it is relevant when you compare him to Michael Jordan. So once the stakes get higher, the weaknesses become more important. So I think
that's the point, Mars, because this super chat is saying that, Mars. Brett Bovia says, when discussing all-time greats, we have to split hairs. We have to discuss what the deficiencies are. We have to hone in on where you fall short. Swiper, do you care to engage into this conversation?
Swiper, I was about to ask you, Swiper, because we are where we are with Joker. Because you and I had this discussion not too long ago when we talked about how long has Joker been elite. And you told me, I think it was 18-19. You told me that that's when he became elite. So now we're in year, I think we're in year what, 5 now? Okay, so now we're in year 5 of elite Joker. So,
this is year 7, I think. Year 7 now.
18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21, 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24, 24. Okay, yes. Now, so how many more years of this Joker how many more years of this Joker? Forget the all-time. Let's take the all-time off the table. How many more years of this Joker do you think we got?
Oh, do we just have? Oh,
do we have? How many more years of this Joker do we have? He's 20. What's he? 29?
I think he's turning 30, I believe.
Okay, so he's 20. I know he's 29 right now. How many more years of this current Joker do we have? We've already seen 7 years. And of the 7 years, how many years of this Joker have we seen? What, 3?
This Joker, the one that's
we're in our third year.
That's what I was thinking, Mars.
We're in our third year of this Jokic.
I think he became elite 7 years. We're in 7 years of Joker being elite. I think this Joker, we're in year 3 of this. How many more years of this Joker can we see?
Swiping. This is the Joker swiper that Philo Reed says is first in rebounds, second in offensive rebounds. Swiping. How much more of this can we expect?
This specific Joker,
as much as he wants. I think that at this point, I think if you're from Denver or you've been here since a long time, like for a long time, and I think this community has taken forever to catch up to where everybody else has been that's kind of watched this process. Joker will literally be as great as he wants as long as he wants. As long as he feels like he has a passion to do it, as long as he feels like he wants to commit the time to do it, he wants to be away from his family, he wants to be away from Sombor, then he'll literally do it as long as he wants. I think that, I don't know, his skill will probably start to deteriorate because he's big. Maybe by the time he gets 34 or something like that, then he'll have to change up his game. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's really just going to be up to like health.
I think this is wrong. The 7 year thing is wrong. It's really more like 9 years of really just all-star level, really good player. And I'm
no, Penn, we're not doing that.
It is.
Penn, we're not going to do that.
Just because the league caught on late does not mean that he was
not elite in year 3. No, he wasn't. He was not.
Is he not in year 9?
No.
He came in 2016-17. Is he not in year 9?
No, he came in in 14. 15-16 was his first year.
Yeah, my fault. And 16-17 was full-time starter, right?
He was
like the minute he started starting, like the numbers are absolute madness, bro.
Let's not get too deep into that. Pen. Let's stay with how much time he has left.
No,
as opposed to how long he's
we're not
wait, real quick, Pen. What I'm trying to tell you is what I know is going to happen because we've been on here for a while and I know where this is going to go. This is going to turn into 30 minutes of us trying to figure out how long he's been great. Let's talk about how much longer he can be great. Pen. Let's talk about the future. Come on, let's stay.
Like, are you in my brain that you know where I'm gonna go before I know where I'm gonna go? No, you
know
where
this is gonna go, Pin. I know where this is gonna go.
Stop disrupting the conversation, man. Just let the conversation happen.
Because you're gonna be the one with 30 minutes left in the private chat talking about we got 26 super chats. We only got 20 minutes. But you're gonna talk about something that wasn't asked, and I know where that's going.
Maybe stop stopping the conversation. How about that?
Real quick, hold on.
Still arguing about who's holding up the show.
Because I have no idea. I have no idea where your brain is. No, I don't. I can never know that, Pin. You're too smart for that. What I'm saying is, I know that if you go into this, I know Chill, Mars, Swiper, me, and John D are gonna all be up here talking about how long he's been. I would have
been my point 17 times over if you hadn't cut me off. Okay, how about that? Okay, so you are you interested in efficiency or your ego? Just stop.
I'm interested in my ego, Pin. I am. I'm sorry.
Really quickly. So Pin, really quickly. I think that there's a difference between your prime and your peak, and I think we're in peak Joker years. That's what I think we are. So how many more peak Joker years do we have?
What I'm trying to say is that the version of Joker that you're describing has basically morphed 3 times. Okay, there was the first version that was an all-star level player from year 2 to year 5. Year 4 was an all-star level player. Okay, then he started getting when he won the MVP, he morphed into an overwhelming all-time great level type of player. Okay, he started to jump into those top 50, top 75 discussions. And that was, 2021. 2021 was when he jumped. Now, for 4 years, he held serve at that level. Okay. And that's what we had
grown with the $50 super chat. He says, enough of this Jokic stuff.
All right.
How do y'all feel about that? I'm liking the Jokic conversation.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about
cutting someone off mid-sentence to flash your super chat is literally insane. What are you doing?
Any super chat's a $50 super chat. I'm doing my job, Pin.
You are doing the worst job hosting of any host in PC history.
Next time you host, Pin. When I'm hosting today. Hey, Multi-Kenny. Shout out you, Multi-Kenny, a Hall of Fame member, Multi-Kenny, with the $50 super chat. Enough of the Jokic stuff. Now, obviously, Multi-Kenny, that's not going to happen. We're going to stick with the Jokic stuff over and over because it's a Jokic day. I just wanted to read your super chat, Kenny, because you're a Hall of Famer. Go ahead, Pin.
What we would Pen, where you Pen, where you were?
No, this
Pen,
is
hold on, Pen.
If I'm
this is where you were,
Pen. You're gonna cut me off because that's
no, we're not doing that, Pen. Pen, where you were? You said 20. You said 2021.
No, go
ahead. That's where you were, Pen. That's where you
were.
You said 2021, Pen. That's where you were. You said 2021, Pen. That's where we were. Let's get back there.
So he held serve for 4 years, and a lot of people were saying he was the best player in the league. Now I'm saying that the version of Jokic that we're seeing this year is just taking another step up. So the question is not just how long can he stay at this level, because this level is new. My question is, how long can he stay at the level he's at this year? Because this year is where those top 10 conversations really start to gain some legitimacy. Last year, you could have said he was the greatest offensive player maybe of all time. I know Legend of Winning said that. But this year, I think, so to answer Swiper's question, at long last, how many years does he have to do this? I think 3 more years, like this year plus next year plus the next year. If he holds serve at like what he's doing right now, which is legit insane, 15 box plus minus is mental. That's not something Michael Jordan ever did. That's not something LeBron's ever done. I don't think there's a single player in the league that I can think of that has done that. Those are the types of stats that Candace Parker is probably putting up in college. Okay. It's insane how much better he is than the field. And
Russell Westbrook did
great competition. 15 boxes minus?
He did it and they changed the formula. So, but he did do it.
Sure. My point is, like, the way he's dominating right now, if he does this for 2 more years, like, we can have the conversation. Unfortunately, GOAT rankings and top 10 rankings always come down to championships. And I don't know if and when he's ever going to get back to the finals. So that'll be the thing. And I think if we're at the end of this career, people will say, great player, only won 1 championship.
Fair enough.
That'll be disappointing. I think now we can move on from the Jokic stuff.
Sure.
Fair enough.
Hour and a half mark.
Yeah, we got half the show left. Yeah.
Shout out to Jokic. We still got some super chats pertaining to Jokic, so we'll probably get back into it though. Swiper, were you done, Swiper? Did you want to keep going with that? No. Okay. So Stanley says, do you believe if players like Joker, Steph, KD played back then, would they be forced to play how they did back then, or would they be allowed to play their game, especially if they came in as rookies and not in their prime?
I don't think Steph would be able to play the way he played today back then. No,
they're letting KD do what KD does.
Yes, they 100% are. I don't think they're allowing Steph to do that.
Steph would be Mark Price. Like that archetype of player. I'm not saying that's the level. I mean, he would be a Mark Price archetype, heavy pick and roll, elite shooter. Like that's how he would operate, and he'd probably be like the best of that archetype in NBA history. And now, how impactful that would be, I don't know, because you wouldn't get the off-ball value and stuff. But like, still as an on-ball player, Steph is still elite. Jokic, they'd run the offense through Jokic. They run the offense through their bigs in general anyway. It's just Jokic would just not take those contested shots that the other bigs made a living off. He would just like either score himself, and if you send the double with the illegal defense, you probably, I'm not gonna say you make the reads easier because the lack of spacing in terms of actual shooting ability, but Jokic is making those reads, so they would still run the offense through Jokic the same way they run the offense through Patrick Ewing and Hakeem, and it would just be he would pass more. So Jokic would be himself. And then KD, if you don't let KD do what KD does, I'm not gonna lie, you're just stupid.
You're getting fired. Sure.
Yeah. So
John D, what do you think about Steph and Jokic as far as when they first came in?
I think Mars explained it pretty well. I think with KD's archetype coming out of college, you would specifically let him do what he would want to do, or you would try to get the offense to run through him as much as you possibly could because of the height and the length and the shooting ability and the way he can create with the ball in his hand. I think you let KD do what he wants to do. As for Jokic, in the 90s, they ran the offense through the big anyway. Jokic is a pretty dominant post player, and he has great touch around the rim. I think Jokic would still excel. As far as Steph, I don't think. Now, when I first read the super chat, I was thinking they weren't shooting as much threes when he was drafted, but then again, it did take him some time to really become the Steph that we know and love today. So maybe they wouldn't let him be Steph walking straight into a team because we don't really know what Steph is going to become as a young player. I think he was like 21 or 22 when he was drafted.
21.
So I think Steph wouldn't be at the gravity or at the volume that he is today, but I still think he would be a good player and an all-star player though.
Isn't it fair to say that the Golden State Warriors had the foresight to see what Curry and Clay were going to be? They saw which way the game was going. They saw what Phoenix was doing. They saw what Curry was doing. They saw what Clay was doing. This is the way the game is going. This is how we're going to build our unit. That wasn't going on 30, 40 years ago. That's not the way the game was built around the big man. That's just the way it was. But I can also say within the same breath, Giannis would have ate Charles Oakley lunch. I'm being honest with you guys. I'm not sugarcoating this. KD would have fried Alex English. He would have destroyed him. Okay, Bernard King has no chance. KD would have bust these dudes' ass in the 80s, and I was around when this stuff was going on. KD is frying these dudes, so I can recognize a guy being awesome in terms of his game because KD got that kind of game that travels anywhere. KD doesn't have a game that's only good in 2022. KD's game in 2044 is still going to be awesome.
How do you divorce someone's game today from modern techniques, modern training, and that all that's caught up? So I think the question a lot of old heads have is, what if Alex English had the same training, the same benefits, the same access to nutrition, all the same stuff that KD had? Now we're not arguing that he'd be better than KD, but would he be a little bit closer, and would KD be a little bit closer back then?
I think that Alex English would be better, but from a skill set, I mean, KD was just better. From the skill set alone, it's like seeing into the future. I mean, it's real easy to call somebody dumb when you already know the answers to the test. So a guy like KD who's in the future, who's already seen what's going on in 1987, 1977, 1997. Okay, he already seen that, and he can go back in time and play in that game and in that architect and just be awesome. These guys, Alex English, Bernard King, I feel like their game translates, but they don't know what the game looks like 30 years from 1987. They don't know that they don't know about the 3-ball revolution. They don't know that the big man is playing 22 feet away from the basket. They don't, and that's an adjustment that these guys would have to make, which would take some time.
Is it not fair to say that Alex English would get his too if he came?
I think Alex English would bust these dudes' ass today, no doubt about that.
I think a player who's 6'10", 6'11" like KD, potentially even 7 feet like KD, a guy who has a 7'6" wingspan, likely number one would not have been allowed to take as many threes. That's the first thing. I don't think that necessarily the game was going there, even though he's a great shooter. There's a lot of
doesn't take that many anyway.
In fairness, yes. But I think that a lot of his game is very wing guard adjacent. Whereas I think being that big back then, they probably would have made him a power forward or a center. They might have even asked him to bulk up a little bit more, to deal with the other power forwards and centers of the league. So, and there's a lot less space for him to operate, right? So he'd be more boxed in with less spacing around him. So I think it's just really hard to compare players in eras, specifically players who break the archetype of older eras, like KD.
But KD was sorry if you have to move on, but KD was the revolutionary player. Like, it's Dirk and then KD. Like, those two 7-footers who are doing what they're doing on the perimeter. KD, I think, leveled it up with the ball handling and stuff. But like, so it's hard to be like, oh, KD benefited from like the game being more welcoming to what he does, when he's the reason the game is as welcoming as it is to 7-footers doing what he does. He was the first. So like, who's to say he wouldn't have been the first in 1986, for example? Like, maybe if Len Bias stuck around, maybe Len Bias would have been the first, and we would have been like, oh, these 6'10" forwards who can do everything. Maybe they would have been open to it back then, but we never got to see it unfold. So like, it's hard for me to be like, well, the first of his kind is only the first of his kind because they allowed him to be in this time, but they wouldn't have done it 20 years ago. It's like, well, the revolution has to start somewhere, and it started with KD. So why can't I assume it would start with KD no matter what time it started? Like, we'd never seen a 6'9" point guard but the game changed for Magic Johnson. Am I going to be like, well, if he was in 1965, they wouldn't have allowed it? Like, how far back am I going to have to go before I just say?
Get hung up on the details, but Len wasn't 6'10".
My fault. How tall was Len?
6'8".
6'8". My fault. Okay, my apologies. But
yeah, you good, Mark? You good?
He was a wing.
This super chat here, we've already gone over this time and time again. I'm going to read it anyway out of respect, but we don't got to get back into this again. Drink more water. He said, for years, I had to hear how bad of a shooter Giannis is. Penn and Swiper even use his shooting as a knock. But Jokic rim protection doesn't matter to them and gets swept under the rug, even though he's a transcendent player too.
They both matter. I think both issues matter. If Giannis could shoot, it's a very different conversation. If Jokic was a better rim protector who could switch onto the perimeter, very different conversation. The question is, they're great in spite of what they don't do well, right? Because they find ways to succeed regardless.
Yep.
Giannis shooting the hell out the ball this year.
Like Shaq not shooting.
Hey, Mars. One more time, Mars.
That you know what? For Giannis is dropping.
Hey, man, he look at that bucket look huge when you're about 16 feet away from the basket. That bucket look a lot bigger than it did.
I'm just saying, like, he still can't make free throws consistently.
It looks ugly, though.
But that bucket look a lot
bigger. If it's dropping, I don't care how it looks. Shoot like Lonzo. I don't care if it go in. It go in.
That bucket look a lot bigger today than it did 2 years ago. He's shooting it off the dribble. He looked at you in your face. I'm like, Giannis is way more confident in the mid range today than he was 2 years ago. I love it.
Shout out to Thanasis in the front row, rooting. Love it.
You need Thanasis there. That's why the Bucks on a nice little streak, because Thanasis been there. That's why.
They won 6 of their last 7 games. They rolling.
Shout out to Thanasis. That's my guy. Another Hall of Fame member, KT, said another Hall of Fame. Cut him off again.
Oh, that's the KT. I never knew. Oh, I never knew that's the Hall of Fame KT. Shout out to KT.
Shout out KT, man. Shout out to the Hall of Fame members. So apparently, Kristaps Porzingis is making his debut tonight. A real rim protector. Can we stop talking about guys that can't make it past the second round now? That's from Classic.
Who is the guys that can't make it?
Feel about?
You talking about Jokic?
He's talking about. I thought it was my
Joel. Got to be.
I
mean, Jokic got a ring. He's been past the
100%.
I'm saying, like, who are we talking
about? Yeah. I always assume it's Joel when they say that. I didn't know Porzingis was on track to be back this soon. I was expecting.
People are saying KD and Porzingis are back.
Yeah, I expected KD. I think we said that last. Well, I expected tomorrow whenever they play, but Porzingis, this is a surprise. Hopefully, like,
I hope he is.
Hey,
nah.
What do we expect from the Celtics now?
To win.
Healthy Porzingis,
still be dominant.
A Lakers fan rooting for the Celtics' health? What's going on?
I just like good basketball. That's it.
That's the cop out answer I use too when I have multiple teams. Like good basketball,
No, that's not even. See, you're
gonna be the first Lakers plus Celtics fan in the world.
No, that's not it. That's not it. I just like watching good basketball. That's it.
Because you're a Celtics fan. I get you.
Are you secretly a Celtics fan, John D?
No. Now, I will say, I do not like the Jason Tatum discourse. I don't like how people hate on Jason Tatum, but I'm not a Celtics fan. I'm not a Celtics fan.
You're happy. You're really happy that Kristaps Porzingis is back.
I just like watching good basketball. That's it.
With KP, I think that
most Celtics fans do. They do.
That was a good comeback, man.
Harden FC gonna handle that. Don't worry. Harden FC, we hit. Don't worry, we handling that.
Well, Clippers are 11-7. They've been performing like a top 8 team this year too. Like so. Yeah.
Harden FC, that's what we do. We've never missed the playoffs, and you guys wanted to doubt. Like, we've never missed the playoffs. We're always there.
To your point, Swiper, the more I watch this Chris Dunn kid, I'm thinking to myself, why wasn't he in more of high demand last summer?
I don't know.
I could argue he's been the best defensive guard in the NBA this season. I could argue he's been the best defensive guard.
I don't know if I hate it. I don't think he's better than. I don't think he's been better than Dyson. No, I don't think he's been better than Dyson.
Well, he's probably not better than De'Aaron Fox either. But
yeah,
I do think that I think their defensive ceiling is what's carrying the Clippers right now. I mean,
well, I heard that earlier in the season that James Harden was the one who said this is the best defensive team I've ever been on. He said that.
It's by far the best defensive team he's been on. It's by far the best defensive team he's been on.
He said contributing. He said it's the best defensive team he ever been on.
Somebody, never mind.
Which is kind of wild.
Ty Lue is the defensive player of the year this year.
Who?
One more time, Penn.
Ty Lue is the defensive player of the year this year.
Oh.
Yeah, he's been coaching really well.
Yeah, their defensive team's been great. Ivica Zubac's been top 10, 12-ish center. Been a great defensive anchor this year. Yeah, I mean,
third in the league in rebounding. Zubac is, I think, 3rd in the league in rebounding. Yeah.
Everyone but Kevin Porter Jr. has been like real good for them. Like everyone's
well, we can't talk about Kevin Porter Jr. with you, Mars. We already know what time it is. With
he's been bad. Like
even think he's garbage.
Away from the fact that I think he's a despicable human being. Away from that,
let's take that off the table. Like
Arch is back. Arch is back. Tatum haters assemble.
Assemble.
Yeah, assemble. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Tatum haters assemble, and also Raptors suck.
Tatum was
he got a nice
W Arch on the super chat.
That's my next
Arch feeling good.
He got a real fuck you money when you can have an egregious typo on a super chat for $100. That's how you know.
All right, send another $100 to correct.
Yeah, fix that.
Correct your spelling on the next $100.
But shout out to Jason Tatum, 0 for 10 from 3 against the Wizards. I'll play by Kyle Kuzma. Shout out.
I missed that.
I think you
shout out to Arch. Shout out to Arch, man. Appreciate the super chat, man. Isn't Arch a Hall of Fame member too? But not that Arch.
I think one of his burned. One of his like.
Yeah, the other one is
to Swiper's point. He's actually a future Hall of Famer. Actually, that's what he is.
I don't. The way he playing this year,
I don't think Bam's a future Hall of Famer.
The way he playing this year.
Tell him, hey, Arch, don't watch
the
last episode of Hoop Talk. Don't watch the last episode of Hoop Talk.
Yeah, you were hating on my guy, man. But
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you hate us.
Oh man. Where were we? Oh, I want to bring this one up. From It's Ira. Itzhak Ira. Mavs are 9-8. They literally gave away the game to Miami last night in the overtime. Why have they been so bad in crunch time? Top 10 defense and offense, yet giving away games in the clutch. What needs to change?
They didn't give away anything. Miami let them back into the game. That's what happened. They were up double digits. They were dominating. Tyler Hero played horrible basketball yesterday. Horrible basketball in the stretch of the fourth quarter. Airball to 3. Got locked up in ISO by Najee Marshall. Dumb shots. And then Jimmy Butler saved the day. Should have got a foul and an and one on the Derek Lively contest at the rim. This is the second game in the last 2 weeks. They have won game-winning buckets on out-of-timeout plays and a back cut to the rim. Jovic had one 2 weeks ago. Jimmy Butler had one yesterday. I believe, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, this is Jimmy Butler's second straight 30-point game.
Yes.
If I remember correctly, he was 11-17 and chill. The best part about Jimmy Butler, I said this on Locked On NBA last night. He's running split back, heavy dive ISOs. 0 3-pointers yesterday, but 16 free throws. He threw it back to 1995, got to the rim at will. They ran the Spain pick and roll, the same thing you referenced with the Lakers yesterday. They ran that down the stretch of that game yesterday to get him onto more favorable matchups. And
Derek
he was playing so well.
Had Derek Lively on his hip.
He was playing so well that Lively didn't go with him, and then because they wanted to make sure that the three-point line was contested. But also Bam Adebayo made a clutch corner 3 from the right corner to put the game away. And then I'm not going to mention the fact that he airballed the very next 3-pointer that he did 2 possessions later. But Jimmy Butler was excellent yesterday. Tyler Hero was nowhere to be seen down the stretch of the game, shot inefficient as well, but they look great.
To answer his question about what needs to change, you just got to make plays. I mean, there's nothing that's going on that's different in terms of schemes. When you get into the meat and potatoes of games, you go to your best offensive player, you go to your best scorer. They went to Irv. Consistently, they went to Irv. They're trying to get Irv into action, where they're trying to get him in pick and pop. They're trying to get him in pick and dive, where they could get him in one-on-one on the left wing. He just wasn't converting. That's all that was. So Ox and I have had this conversation plenty of times where coaches coach up into a certain point. Like we get into the last 5 minutes of the game. What am I drawing up, Ox? Yo, go get me a bucket. Go get me a basket. And at some point that has to happen. And that wasn't going on last night. On top of that, I was trying to figure out what the hell Dallas was doing. So Swiper, we have a one-possession game, right? We got a one-possession game. Everybody is up toward half court. Just so you guys know, the rim is back here. This is what we have to protect. We got to protect the rim. And you up 2, right? No, they were up. Were they up 2 or they up 3?
Who?
I think they were up. Dallas.
When Mavs they were up 4 at one point. They were up 4.
No, I'm talking about when Jimmy Butler got that dunk. When Jimmy Butler got that dunk, they were up 2. That's how the game ended up in overtime. So everybody is up toward half court. Everybody. Nobody's back protecting the rim. You got Derek Lively, both him and PJ Washington. Same thing that happened between Rui and Anthony Davis. Nobody's talking. That's how Jimmy Butler got to dive straight to the basket. Because these two guys, it had nothing to do with schemes. It was just communicating. Hey, You going with him, you stay with him. I'm staying here. They didn't do any of that. That's how Jimmy Butler got straight to the basket. So ultimately, you got to make plays at the end of games.
Dallas just got to find a lineup that works for them in crunch time. Like that, the issue is, I think Jason Kidd is realizing. I know Luka wasn't there last night. I think Jason Kidd is realizing that Luka, Kyrie, Clay lineups just aren't great. So then you have to close with someone else. I think Najee Marshall, if his 3-point shot is finally figuring that out, that's extremely valuable. So he has to close with more defensive stability. Are we allowed to show this? I don't know.
It's going to be like, no, you can't show it. You can't show it. You can't show it.
You absolutely can. If you slow it down and you're only showing a couple seconds, I just wanted to show the clip. Like,
okay. I appreciate it. I don't know the copyright rules. I don't want to get us in trouble.
You can.
But yeah, they just got to find lineups that work for them down the stretch of that have enough defense.
So wait, when Luka comes back, who goes out then? Could Clay close? He's been closing the majority of the season, and
he didn't close last night. He closed. It was Dinwiddie, and they put Najee, Dinwiddie. It was Najee, Dinwiddie, Lively, Kyrie, and PJ,
and PJ.
What's the five? What's the five you're looking for, Mars? What's the five you're looking for to close without Luka and with Luka?
With Luka, I'll start with Luka because that's how they're gonna win. Hopefully, if they. So I would go. And it depends if Clay's having a Clay night where he's on a heater. I would sacrifice the defense and I would go Luka, Kyrie, Clay, Najee, or PJ, depending on our opponent and how much size they have, and then Derek Lively. But if Clay's having a non-Clay night, I would go Luka, Kyrie, Najee, PJ, Derek Lively. That would be the closing lineup I'd go with. Just for the defensive Swiss Army knives in the forward spots. You have Luka creating great offense, Kyrie playing off of that, Derek Lively is the vertical spacer. I think that's probably the best balance they can get because I'm not putting both 2 of the 3 scorers on the bench. So that's probably the best.
I don't know when it's going to happen for Derek, but when he gets more like legitimate playing time, he definitely, I don't know if he'll get DPOY conversations, but he will 1000% be in all NBA defense conversations. He has been like excellent since he's come back. And yesterday, he would even just Derek Lively, because he's so big and he's a great vertical spacer. Every single time there is a miss on the rim, Derek will get it if you do not have a significant body on him and a box out on an offensive glass. I mean, he's a very good player. And honestly, he's probably been in some ways, he's been the most important clutch player, but not because he's like carrying the load that Luka and Kyrie are. But
it's just the stuff that he does.
It makes it that much more difficult. He's the second action you have to worry about on every single possession. And
I ain't give him enough credit as a passer because he was so young.
That's what surprised me.
I did not give him enough. I didn't give him enough credit to be able to read defenses the way he does, as young as he was. I thought that this kid was going to be a project, and he knows exactly when he's coming off that pick and pop. He knows exactly where he's going before he's going. So I like him. I do.
Right.
Definitely,
I think they will as well. I want to read these next 2 kind of together. Let me start with Marcus from 626. Great game, Wolves versus Celtics. Proud of Rob Dillingham. He definitely has a top 5 handle, bro. You cannot steal the ball from him. And then Ray Starr also sent a super chat that said, depressed Wolves fan here. Rob Dillingham got the goods. Next 4 games at home will tell me everything I need to know about this team. Sink or swim now. What you
Jump
think
off
about
the
that?
train. Jump off the train. Their defense stinks. It stinks. But
yeah.
They play us tomorrow, so they're gonna win that one. I guarantee it.
I give Julius Randle credit. He made a great bucket, and I want to give Jason Tatum credit. The reason why the Celtics won that game, not offense. Jason Tatum, that last drive, it was JB, actually JB, and it was JT. JB did not let Ant get past his hip that last defensive possession. That was one of the best jobs I've seen somebody be able to stay in front of him, and so much so he didn't have a clean look at the rim at all, and so he forced the ball out. But JT, because he's so intelligent, he saw the pass before it got there to Jaden McDaniels, and Jaden, who's since last year has been a relatively good corner 3-point shooter, he closed out, forced the ball to Nas, and Nas didn't have any time to get it up and get it out with a good look. And it was the last 2 defensive rotations for the Celtics.
They forced him into a grenade.
Yes, it was a horrible grenade too, and he almost made it, but it was defense that won them that.
And Ox, just so you know, that grenade, he wasn't able to throw the grenade. The grenade blew up in your hand. That's what happened. He wasn't.
Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, he wasn't able to throw it.
He streak in the first quarter. At families, it was fun to watch.
The Rob Dillingham stuff I can appreciate it because I see what you guys are looking at. I know you guys like ballers. I love the fact you dudes love ballers. You dudes love them. But here's the difference. I watched the Celtics go after him early. I 100% watched the Celtics.
And we don't need to bring up that he's an egregious defender. We don't need to bring
No. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
I'm not talking about him. It's just the fact that he's young. And what Wolves fans want to do is they want to throw him into the lineup right now. And they think that he's going to be the difference. When I watch the Celtics go after him, he's got clear deficiencies. Not even on the defense. One, I think he might be a couple of slices lighter than a loaf of bread. I don't think I'm not sure that he's heavier than a loaf of bread. So it's easy to pick on a dude like that, especially when you got physical guards like Jaylen Brown, and especially when you got physical guards like Jaylen Brown.
Him and Bones coming out?
Exactly. I literally thought that.
Oh, he's got. Am I hearing the Bones Highland comparisons again?
I mean, Bones is great at VCU, but I'm saying that like, what is the actual difference?
Rob, in my opinion, is a better shooter and a way better decision maker and playmaker. Way better. That's the biggest difference for me.
I think he struggles a lot with decision making, though.
I think he struggles about as much as you'd expect a 6'1" guard who isn't Trae Young to struggle. But I still think he's miles better than.
What about him versus Reed Shepherd as a pick and roll ball handler? You trust Rob more?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, cool.
I don't think Reed has been good in pick and rolls at all for his career, like so far. And even at Kentucky, I don't think he was that good in pick and roll. And I think Rob was better at Kentucky in the pick and roll. But I think Bones to me always projected as not a combo guard. He was a shooting guard. That's how I projected him. Rob to me is a combo guard. So that's why I think he's not.
So Bones is a 2 in your estimation, Mars.
Yes, Bones Highland is a 2 guard, and I think Rob is a combo guard, and Reed is a combo guard too. And I'm not saying Reed is bad in pick and roll. I just think Rob is better. So I think he struggles with decision making, and defensively is nightmarish at times. I think the effort is there for the most part, but defensively is bad.
Well,
and then offensively, I think he's dynamic, and I think the Wolves need some dynamism in there.
Who's the best winning approximation to him in the league? Like that's contributing to winning? That Monk?
That has contributed. Well, that has contributed to winning is probably a smaller Jamal Crawford.
No, but he didn't contribute to winning either. I mean, I'm talking about like playoff winning. No respect. I'm no slight to Jamal. I'm just saying that. Like,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know
champion. You can win a in a rotation in the playoff runs.
A weaker Ben Gordon.
I think
Ben Gordon was a lot.
Ben felt like a little stout at least though. Like,
yeah, he was a lot more physical than him. A lot.
I think he should be looking at guys like Peyton Pritchard and say that he can be that level of.
He's never going to be that.
That's what I think he should be looking at. That level of shooter. Bench guards who can come in, he can run offense, but he can also play off of other superstars, and then he has to find a way to not be a complete nightmare mismatch defensively.
Okay, has there ever been a player that at no level prior to the NBA has if you can't guard in high school and you can't guard in college, you're not going to become a good defender in the NBA. It's never happened. I've seen guys go the other way. I've seen a lot of guys who were good defenders in college become kind of average or worse. That makes sense. You're going up a level. I don't see how you could have been such a terrible defender at Kentucky and suddenly you're going to be like competent in the NBA. First of all, he's way too weak. He's like 6 foot, probably 165.
We can fix that, those Penn.
How old is
he?
You can get him up to 6 foot. Yo, bone density is not changing at this.
No, age. It's not. No, and you don't have. I don't have to look like Giannis neither. No, I don't have to look like that. Okay. But
he's always gonna be
180, 185, 190. He's gonna be wiry, right?
Yes.
And he can
get stronger, though. He can get stronger.
Yeah, he can get stronger, but he's still going to be a mismatch.
He's not quite the athlete that an Allen Iverson was. He doesn't quite have the length that an Allen Iverson was. And Allen Iverson was a slight defensive liability as well. And in a league which is going significantly larger, this is the conversation you need to have. Because if you look at next year's mock draft, 2025, I don't think there's a single player being picked in the top 50 picks right now that's under 6 feet tall. Everybody coming in is big. For the next 2 drafts, all your point guards are 6'4", 6'3", 6'5", your Jalen Suggs, your Lonzo Balls. That's the new model. So if you're a 6 foot guard in the NBA, you better compete like hell, like TJ McConnell, Peyton Pritchard, dudes like this. Because this is like, look, man, this is an exodus, okay? The league is getting more talented. Every draft class that comes in, on average, is more talented than the last one. If you look at it in 3-year samples, it just makes sense. This is a population thing. more people play basketball, more countries are involved in basketball. Basketball is growing across all continents, across the world, etc. Training is advancing. So we're just seeing more and more talented players. What I'm trying to say is the average 55th pick or the average 53rd pick is more talented than ever. So the replacement that you're going to see in the league is going to be more aggressive. So next year, you're going to see 50-ish players get contracts. The year after, it's another 50. Congratulations. Look at the rosters right now. That's 100 players out of the NBA. And the vast majority of the ones who are going to be targeted the most are going to be undersized guards. And your older players.
Do you think Devin Booker was an example of somebody not being a good high school defender? He wasn't. Not being a good college defender? He wasn't. To being like a passable to good defender.
How bad do you think D-Book was on defense at Kentucky?
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, but he wasn't like
a lot of
relative to other guards like Eric Bledsoe.
I think we have to separate levels of bad. Rob Dillingham was a terrible defender in college.
I'm just trying to think.
Not competent, not streaky, not he had a good quarter. No, he was picked on by older college guards, and you can't just chalk it up to he's younger. Well,
a lot of that has to do with his size and makeup, though. If you're already a bad defender,
it's way worse. It's not just size. It's not just size. It's not just size. It's so much more than that. It is his awareness off the ball. It's his discipline. It's his effort. It's his motor. Picking up like Fred VanVleet may be just the most annoying player for me, but he has one gem of a quote, and he says, "If you are 6 feet tall and you are not Trae Young, you have to pick up full court, you have to fight like hell on defense, and you have to shoot threes. This is the base minimum prerequisite if you are that tall in the NBA."
Was Fred a good defender when he was young?
Great.
He grew.
Fantastic.
He's a great defender.
Right. No. I think Penn is overall right. I think these are the concerns that Rob had pre-draft. These are concerns I had pre-draft, and why I wasn't as high on him as the consensus. Well, I don't know what the consensus was, but as high as people up on the panel
consensus
on Rob Dillingham, because I didn't see what his role was in the future. But I do also feel that he just came off having the best game of his career, and now we're talking about how his career is going to last 3 years. I feel like that's kind of
who said that?
Well, Penn's whole point has been about the league's getting more talented, and the league is going to try filter out the small guards who don't compete on defense. He's all but saying that Rob Dillingham's not going to make it past his first contract, and if he does, he's going to be lucky. I feel like the guy just had a good game, and now we're talking about how his career is not going to last. I feel like
I'm trying to say that
he's 19, and we're talking about how long his career is going to last.
Okay, hang on. First of all, there usually is a second chance if you fail at your first chance. Usually for lottery picks, right?
Yes.
Lottery picks.
Anthony Bennett got plenty of chances.
So Ben McLemore, there's a lot of guys who failed at their first stop. They're going to get a second chance, right? Because you were a lottery pick, you have some buzz. Josh Primo got a second chance even after what he did, right? Because he was a lottery pick. If he was a 45th pick, he'd be out of the league after what he did. Right. My point is that when you're a lottery pick like this, usually there's an expectation that you have a bit of an extended shelf life if you don't succeed or you don't pop right away. Right now, if Rob Dillingham does not play defense, right, on a team that does not need him to necessarily orchestrate their offense or be their best player, it's not an Allen Iverson situation, in Philadelphia where you come in, be the first option, we put defensive players around you. No, you got to compete. You're a role player. Even if you score 20 points per game, you're still a role player. So if at some point he makes it so that his playing makes their defense so bad that they can't play him, don't be surprised, and this is me just saying this, that this could be his last contract. So I will say that if you fail at this stop, don't expect that there's going to be the same buzz or the same hype that there usually is around a lottery pick, because number one, this is a really weak draft. And number two, next year's draft and the year after are so better. And the other thing is that just smaller guards in general just are out of fashion right now. Just like post bigs who don't shoot are falling out of fashion. Bigs who can't switch. So that's what I'm saying. Like the smaller you are, the more you have to fight, man.
I think it comes down to what you're willing to provide, though, because a lot of people were low on Zach Edey because they thought his game wouldn't translate. But now, the further he gets into his career, we see the values that he brings, and especially on a Memphis Grizzlies team that could use a player like Zach Edey, he becomes valuable. So the way that Rob Dillingham, in my opinion, could really last in the NBA, you just become a lethal shooter, play off ball well, be very pesky defensively, and there's going to be a team that you bring value to in that sort of way. So it's if you don't fit the mold of the NBA guard right now, if you kind of progress your game to the point where you bring value to a certain team, you're going to get a contract and you're going to be able to bring value. And that value that you bring to one team, other teams are going to be like, oh, we want to bring that value to our team. And that's how you prolong your NBA career, because Zach Edey's not great on the perimeter, but his size and his wingspan allows him to cut off like a whole half of the court for somebody that's trying to drive to the rim. We see people try to drive past Zach Edey. It's like, now I have to pick up my dribble and try and find somebody on the court. But this guy's so big, I can't see like a whole side of the court. Now I'm forced to shoot a bad shot. Those small type of values, teams notice, and you can bring to other teams. So I think as long as he does his job well, consistently, there's going to be a team across the league where it's like, that brings value to our team. We're a team that may be struggling to have that spark when the starting five is not on the floor altogether, or we're a team that's really needs to bring in somebody that's great off baller, can shoot the ball at a high volume. If they see that and they like, we want to see what he can do for this team and he plays well, now it's like, okay, now I've went through one door and now I have 5 more doors. So I think as long as he does his job at a high level, he's going to have a long career.
If you could do the redraft again, would you still pick Rob Dillingham at number 8?
Would I still pick him at number 8? If I'm the Timberwolves?
No, I'll get in Zach Edey. I want 4 centers. 4.
If I'm
you should take
I'm probably getting Dalton or Jared McCain. If I'm
Dalton
or
Jared.
Oh, no, Jared McCain.
No, it's Jared, 100%.
Yeah, I would have picked Jared McCain.
Real topic. Where's Jared McCain going in the redraft right now?
3.
And
I was trying to get Jared McCain in the top 10-ish anyway. Like, so
why is it not number 1?
Chill out.
Atlanta has a guard.
Chill out, my guys.
I think the
Dyson Daniel with 3.
I know I'm the oldest one up here, and
no, you're not. Penn has never revealed his age.
There's some things that
I'm 100.
And I know I might have some of the bias, but I got to tell y'all dudes, I hate Jason Tatum at the 5. I hate it. I'm not saying that I dislike it.
That's hoops.
There's no KP. Yeah, he has to.
I hate it.
You should hate it. I think
he's 6'10".
I'm watching Jason Tatum yesterday afternoon. I hate him at the 5. I'm thinking to myself, I immediately went back to the NBA Finals and what happened when he was at the 5 and Derek Lively had his way with him from time to time. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the formula. This is the win. But they got a 5-man.
Where did this come from? I'm talking about Jared McCain.
We were talking about. We were talking about.
You got to hit your nails.
Relax.
I'm fully bought into Jared McCain.
I didn't even realize what he was doing. It took me a second to realize.
I was like, "There's no way this guy's doing TikTok dances right now."
We're talking about.
Still, every big man, every real big man should have their way with Jason Tatum. I don't think if you call yourself a big and you can't punish Jason Tatum on the block, that's a problem.
No, wait, chill. Talk about Rudy Gobert switching and winning 4 possessions in that game, and nobody's gonna say a word about it. Nobody's gonna say a word about it.
Everyone up here knows he's a
no, not everyone up here. That is not true.
Who up here denies his defense?
Denies whose defense?
Rudy Gobert's defense.
Rudy Gobert's. Oh no, I think everybody.
Oh, me?
I think everybody.
Pointing at you, John. You pointing at
I've never denied Gobert's defense.
Nah, you denied it.
He got Anthony Davis propaganda, so he just.
And you meant to be my co-host, and you saying Rudy Gobert.
We just talked about this yesterday. I just praised Rudy Gobert. I've never said nothing wrong about Gobert.
I don't know.
Who's hosting today?
Before the worst host in history.
Yes.
Before we do, because I want to blow through all the super chats. We do got a lot of them. But before I do that, I want to give everybody up here a chance to speak on any game that they think needs spoken on from this weekend. Anybody? I want to start. Which I know
the Sacramento Kings.
We watch it.
The Nets. Cam Thomas.
Okay, we'll start with you.
Ben Simmons.
He had 1 dunk.
You want to go with that? Because I have hold on. I got some super chats pertaining to that. Let's start with my man Leaf Diggy. He said, "Great Sunday for me. I just finished the eulogy of the San Francisco 49ers and late last night survived that sorry ass beam of the Sacramento Queens. F them all. I'm up right now. Stay positive, y'all."
That's crazy. Ox only get fired up to combat me. He never get fired about his own team. Bring that same minute. He called you the Sacramento Queens. And you ain't gonna say nothing about it.
He didn't call
That's
me.
crazy.
He's talking about the Sacramento Kings. I don't play for that team.
First of all,
I know. But first of all, nothing chill.
Rep your team.
They got
I'm
smacked.
not on the route.
And Debo dropped the ball. Debo dropped the ball and led to an interception.
2 of them.
And I love Debo, but they look horrible. They're not. They might not make the playoffs. They legit might not.
I don't think they're making the playoffs.
I don't think.
I don't think we're being honest.
Big Fan Breezy also said Cam Thomas cooked versus the Kings. Nets need to pay him. Y'all want to talk about
the real Debo also wasn't hooping. Yeah, he was not good last night for you guys.
No, I don't know if he's better than Debo Samuel's in his sport. So I don't know who's the real Debo.
Yeah,
real
I don't know who that is, so I don't care. But yeah, Cam Thomas. I mean, apparently available for trade, which is interesting. Well, not interesting. Obviously, the Nets are trying to tank.
I love how we live in the time of right now. I love that. And the reason why I'm saying that, Ox, because he completely leaves out, just so you know, the Packers haven't beaten us in 3 years.
Oh, we're talking about Sacramento again. Okay.
3 years they haven't beaten us. But he comes on here and says, stay positive, y'all. This is the same dude. Right? This is the exact same dude who is a self-proclaimed sore loser. This is the same dude who is that, but he said stay positive. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm a star. You know me, Chill. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm a sore loser, but stay positive. That's what he's telling us, to stay positive. And by show of hands, how many people up here had the Brooklyn Nets this good?
Wait, no. I don't like how y'all do this, because all of you are culprits of this. Every one of you but me stands on business. Every one of y'all. Let me tell you why. I said Jokic was going to win MVP, and now all 5 of y'all. Maybe now Ben wasn't here. Ben wasn't here. All of you, and John wasn't here either. So I'm talking to the usual casuals up there. So Chill, Mars, and Ox. They all said that Jokic wasn't going to be a top 4 MVP candidate, and I told them that they were casuals and they didn't want to admit it. Chill. No, you did. And then Chill then said that the Nets were going to be the worst team in the league.
I had them as the worst team in the league, 100%.
Even though we argued you down. Why you were wrong? You said no. You just made up a bunch of nonsense. All that stuff. All that stuff that Penn said about you earlier, about you holding on to the past. You do that. You hold on to the past all the time because you don't want to believe in Cam Thomas. You don't want to believe in Cameron Johnson. You don't want to believe in Nick Claxton. And you are a casual, sir. Put him on the front screen, Ox. Put him on the front screen. Do it. You are a casual about Jordy Fernandez. Jordy Fernandez is one of the best coaches already in the league, and you know where he came from, and he's cooking up a storm, and they beat them weak, no-sensical Sacramento Kings with DeMar DeRozan and De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox out here getting locked up in the clutch. Talk about it.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that entire segment where I wasted 30 minutes as the chat lost their goddamn minds?
Yeah, you did.
You wouldn't waste 30 minutes.
No, you did.
I wasted 30 goddamn minutes talking about how Jordy Fernandez has been coaching since he was a baby. Okay.
Yes, he did. He did talk about Jordy Fernandez. Yes, he did.
I don't know why we're acting like I wasn't the one campaigning for the Nets.
You're in timeout for 60 seconds. No,
you were campaigning, Moss.
I would literally put you on timeout.
I was campaigning for the Nets just because it happened to be solely because the experience is irrelevant.
Yes, that's the only reason why you were campaigning for them. That's
Who cares how I got the ticket? I was on the train.
You were on the Ben Simmons train. That's it.
And
no. And I'm sick of y'all. I'm sick of y'all because Mars is a nice person up here. He has a good accent. People like his ideas. He was wrong about Jalen Green from the jump, and y'all never get him for it. You never say anything to him about Jalen Green because Mars is a troll. So because he's a troll, we're not going to take him serious. But when he wants to get serious, now, W. Mars, PCL champion. Well, get him about Jalen Green. He sucks. He's looked terrible. He has been the pin of the Houston Rockets. Boo! Boo! Get him off the stage. Get him off the stage. Boo! Boo!
He's definitely got a lot more in common with you than he's got in common with me.
Look at this comment, though. This comment is hilarious, though. It says, I love when Mars yells in British.
Yo, for real, I was watching the panel like on Friday. Mars had me laughing. I was dead.
All right. So we talked about that.
No, I'm not. We haven't talked about that. Jalen Green's been an anchor for one of the best teams in the Western. He's been an anchor for one of the best teams in the.
Do you got a game that you want to talk about?
And nobody's bringing it up. Y'all just hide it.
We don't got. That's what I'm doing, Mars. Relax.
Can we talk about the Cavaliers moving to 17-1?
3 times, Mars. I muted him 3 times.
Can we talk about the Cavaliers moving to 17-1 and
Ty
Jerome?
Hold on.
Absolutely.
I'd rather have Ty Jerome on my team than Jalen Green, and Mars ain't gonna say nothing about it.
Ty Jerome been great this year, man. I'm not gonna lie.
One thing at a time.
Ty Jerome has
Okay,
been
wait,
awesome.
chill out, y'all. Chill out. Are we still on the Nets?
No. Let me ask you a question, Doc. Let me ask you a Nets question.
Hold on. You can ask me a question. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Let's keep going with this game. We can move on to the next game one at a time.
I want to ask you a Nets question.
Want to ask me a question?
Yeah, about the Nets, the game we're on.
What about
they played you guys.
Would you rather have Dennis Schroeder or Jalen Green as on your starting as a guard on your team? Which one?
Jalen Green.
I've been a huge fan of Jalen Green since he was 17, and I'm not off that train yet. I'm still rocking.
That's not even the Nets question. That's just you trying to still.
Yeah, that's you just hating. Okay, so what's up? Let's keep going with this game. Go ahead.
So Ox, I did not appreciate that ass whooping early on. I felt like the Brooklyn Nets were in complete control of that game. Early on, they got whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted, however they wanted. They were at the long ball line, cracking the long ball. Cam Thomas, I said this last year that he was. I think he averaged 25 a game. That was good enough last year, and he wasn't in the top 10, but he averaged 25 a game. If I think he's in the top 10 this year in the league in scoring. What's the Cam Thomas? I think he's in the top 10 this year in the league in scoring. If he's not, he's closer. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but I think he is. I'm not sure if he is. But with that being said, I felt like Sacramento came out soft yesterday because I did watch this game. I felt like Sacramento came out soft yesterday.
Or soft?
He's 16th. He's 16th.
So he's 16th in the, so he's right outside. So he's right outside the top 15.
25. Yeah.
I felt like they came out soft. I felt like De'Aaron was the only one who actually came to play early. He was the only one who was aggressive at the rim. They had a bunch of different guys in Brooklyn that were aggressive, scoring the basketball. They did a good job in keeping DeMar DeRozan away from that mid-range. I thought that Nick Claxton was really good on the glass, and they slowed Sacramento down more than anything. From a talent standpoint, y'all should have smoked them. But from an effort standpoint, from a talent standpoint, y'all should have smoked them.
Sure, we just talked about the Spurs are better. No.
Okay,
sure, you're not even a talent person. No, that's not true. You're not even a talent person.
That is not true. Yes, I do. I do believe in talent. That is not true. Right. And I can tell you right now, Keegan Murray is better than Cam Johnson. Yes, he is.
What's that got to do with anything?
And he should win that matchup every time.
Matchup? What is this? What is this? Quarterback receiver? Is this Sertan versus Devontae Adams? That's not how bad. That's not bad basketball play. That's not how it's played. That's not how it's played.
Basketball works. Guys,
what does that got to do with how we're playing?
Guys win matchups all the time.
Is he better than Keegan Murray?
Yes, he is. Yes, he's better than Cam. Yes, he is better than Cam Johnson.
Why?
Yeah. I think he's better. I think he's a better defender than him. I think he's a better long ball shooter than him.
No,
I just don't think.
I think
the difference between him and Cam Johnson.
I think it's close, Mars.
I think the difference between him and Cam Johnson is I don't think Keegan is as aggressive as he should be. Like I'm seeing him get dunks around the rim like it's nothing for him to get turned. I'm seeing him get dunks around the rim like it's nothing. I'm seeing him crack the long ball with ease. I don't think he's as aggressive as Cam Johnson. If he was more aggressive than Cam Johnson, I think the skill set is. I think his skill set is separate from Cam
How's he going to be aggressive when he's the clear fifth option offensively on that team?
Swipe, are you sitting there telling me that we haven't seen guys who are second, third, and whatever option? That's not the point. What I'm
How the hell is
there's four.
De'Aaron, DeMar DeMontis, and Malik is the four he's saying.
But when he's on the floor, Malik doesn't start. So
I know what I'm talking about, Penn. You stay in the corner. Go ahead.
What I'm asking is have we not seen games where the third option gets going and they start going to him more? Have we not seen games where the fourth option gets going?
Hey, the Dylan Brooks of the Houston Rockets. Chill.
He's been like their third best player this year. Stop it. I love that. I'm good. I'll be the Dylan Brooks this year. This Dylan Brooks. I'll be easy
all the time.
Easy. Well, I'm winning. I'm a playoff player. Man, you can't even crack your rotation in the playoff. Okay. You Matabuke. I don't know who you are. You're just on the end of the.
Let's not get personal. Y'all. Come on, relax.
Yeah, host. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of shenanigans are happening on your watch right now.
Relax. Chill. What am I gonna do? I can't control these guys, Mars. I'm just trying to do my.
I don't know. Man. I'm just saying there's shenanigans.
Guys, please, let's relax.
Anyway, in terms of the comparison, Cameron Johnson clears. Cam Johnson has literally been better.
Clears Keegan Murray? No.
Yes.
No, not clear. I don't think clear. Have you heard in the Brooklyn Nets though? Do you accept that they're about an average
he is a much better player than Keegan Murray right now. And it is worth saying that Cam is much older as well. Okay. And it is worth saying that he's had a lot more playoff success in his life. Okay. So Keegan may get there one day, but right now, as the season is right now, they are not close as players. Okay. The load that they're handling is not close. Their efficiency is not close. And if you're going to say that he's the 5th best player, well, that means the defense should be guarding him a lot less, right? If he's the 5th best player on the court, then he should be open a lot. He's shooting 29.9%.
Is he your 5th best player?
Yeah, he's shooting 30% from 3 this year.
He's shooting 29.9% from 3.
Well, probably.
Okay.
30%.
And he's averaging 13 points. And you're comparing him to a guy who's literally like just better. I'm sorry, like
on a bad team.
Right. So, and the Nets and the Kings, no offense, they're like pretty similar in terms of record right now. Right. So right. They're both kind of middle of the pack teams right now. Okay. Let's not think about seeding or whatever. The Kings are 12th or whatever the hell they are in the West. In the East, they would be a playoff team. So they are very comparable to the Nets in terms of where they are in their season right now. And Cameron Johnson has just been better. He's been better. That's it. Okay. And he's a very good player. He's been very good for a very long time. It's just unfortunately Cam Johnson does a lot of stuff that people don't really notice. His movement shooting, his passing, his playmaking, his defensive switchability, his versatility defensively, his just the type of shots he makes are very different and very difficult, in my opinion. And therefore they are difficult to stop.
I could say the same thing about Keegan Murray.
I think Keegan is a better overall player. I just think he's not having a good start to the year so far.
That's what I'm thinking.
He's never been better. No.
He was better last year.
He wasn't.
This is gonna go round around in circles because we can't prove who's better. But I think you guys made some very good points. Any other games we want to get to before we blow through these?
I mean, the Cavaliers moved to 17-1. We should talk about that, and we should talk about Ty Jerome coming off the bench and being damn near a menace. I think the Cavaliers just have the Cavs are missing a ton of players. Right, they're missing Max Strus. Right, they're missing Karis LeVert right now. Both of whom have been fantastic. Right, Karis LeVert especially has been fantastic. The fact that that team is able to go to what is effectively like a base minimum contract type of player in Ty Jerome, and close to a minimum contract player in Sam Merrill, and find that type of value. That even on a night where it's not like Darius Garland really had it going, it's not like Dunn was great, Evan Mobley was all right. But they are able to produce everywhere. And the Cavs are a fantastic team.
If it wasn't for Boston, I think that they would be looking at that Warriors record at 24-0. I think that if it wasn't for Boston, they would.
What do you mean it wasn't for Boston?
Because they earned that loss, to be fair. And Boston earned that win. So, but I'm saying like it was not close last night. Even when the Raptors got very competitive in the third quarter, they started pushing it. Scotty Barnes started dialing up defensively. Davion Mitchell with 6 turnovers. It was tough, right? It was never really that close. It was never like, oh, I wonder who's going to win this game. Not for a second in that game was it close about who was going to win that game. They dominated from wire to wire, and that's how a lot of their victories have been this year. They're a very connected team, and I think, if we were to do the coaching rankings again that we did, I don't remember where we had Kenny Atkinson, but I think he needs to enter top 10 conversations
already.
Yes, absolutely.
Well,
absolutely.
Kenny Atkinson's been a really good coach for a long time.
He's been a fantastic coach. Exactly. And I think a lot of the coaching element comes down to the politics of how we view certain people, their accolades, etc. But he did a fantastic job when he was in Brooklyn. Fantastic job. Why he lost that job? Largely, it's because they moved on to Katie and Kyrie and all that shit. And so it was politics that he lost it, right? So he loses that job. He goes over. He's a fantastic assistant. And now he's got a second shot. And now he's this good. So in the 2 times he's really had an opportunity, he's been great. So I think, yes, we should talk about him like a top 10 coach because he's been fantastic.
And then
I didn't give Jordan Fernandez as much credit as I should have given him. And that was largely due to this is his first coaching job as a head coach. And he was coaching a team that was looking on paper bad. So I had him at the bottom of the league because I'm not looking at this crew thinking that they're going to be a good team and that he's going to have this much of an effect on him. But he did.
I've followed Jordy a lot, basically because of how much I watched Sacramento Kings basketball a couple of years ago when he's a really big part, and Team Canada, of course. And when the Raptors had a coaching vacancy, I was pushing really hard, not for my countryman Darko Rajakovic. I actually pushed first for Jordy Fernandez, just because I saw in his interviews, also in some of the Kings behind the scenes stuff, how much the players respected him in practice.
He's been with 2 of the best coaches in the West too for the last 6 years.
Absolutely, absolutely that too. So he's had great, and sometimes you just have to trust the Wonderkins right? People who are just way ahead of their time. He's so young to be a head coach. So is Joe Mazzulla. So are a lot of these people, Brad Stevens. These are like really the geniuses of the NBA. And so you just have to trust that. And the only thing that you would look at from there is how well do they connect with their players in the head coach setting. How can they deal with the media? How can they deal with the pressures of making decisions in crunch time? How does their brain freeze up? And how do they deal with conflicts with their players? And the players really want to play for them and respect them. And so I think Jordy has, his team really bought in, and Kenny Atkinson has his team super bought in. So I think both franchises made really good coaching hires.
And then, I think people in rebuilds really don't emphasize how important it is to land the right coach. For a coach to be engaged with their players and for the players to respect the coach. That's really important when you're like gearing into a rebuild and picking the right coach to be the forefront of that rebuild. Because a lot of people, when we look at coaches, they get kind of like put to the side to the players, because if you have a bad relationship with the player and the player is the franchise player, 9 times out of 10, the coach is going to be gone. But when you have a rebuilding team who's looking to bring in a lot of young players, it's very important that these young players respect their coach. They're willing to ride for their coach, and they're willing to carry out the plan that the coach is putting on the floor night in and night out. So I think it is very important for you to be able to pick the right coach when you're rebuilding, and to be able to have that relationship with the coach that we can do this. We can have you here and developing our young players with us for the next 4 or 5 seasons.
Also, before we get to the rest of Super Chats, 76ers are now 3-13. And I think they're single digits in NBA history, the amount of teams that have made it to the playoffs starting 3-13, and none have gone past the first round, I believe.
We like making history, man.
Don't worry about that. I told you already, Swiper. They're gonna have 20
in a bad way, Mars. Just so
they're gonna have 20 losses before 10 wins, bro. We know this.
How many Ox? Do they get to? Do they get to 7 wins? Do they get to 7 wins before 20 losses?
I can't call it. Maybe I don't know, but I know they're gonna have 20 losses before 10 wins. I can guarantee you that. But let's knock out.
That's another thing Mars doesn't get cooked on. He said that they're gonna have maybe we can look like the MVP player and win all this minutes.
Why you want Mars to get cooked so bad?
I'm just saying.
He can't do it himself, so he needs everyone to.
I'm directly talking to you. I'm saying these are takes you said. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I was wrong here. My fault. I was wrong. I've already said I was wrong. Yeah. It turns out
about the 76ers.
No, when Joel Embiid healthy, he's gonna look good. Just right now, he weren't in basketball shape, and now he's got swelling in his knee again.
When's he gonna be healthy?
I don't know. He got them Lonzo knees. I don't know what to say. It's good. It might be finished. Like I'm hearing about swelling in his knee. That's the same thing I'm hearing about Kawhi. Like we're going down a dangerous road with Joel Embiid. I think he's just done. Like whoops. Like my fault for believing in the talent of Joel Embiid. Like his knees don't work. My bad.
At all. What's up, John D? What were you gonna say, John D?
Friday versus the Pistons, Franz Wagner had 30 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists, about 50, 44, 100 splits.
That's another day in the office, John.
Yeah, and I've always been high on Franz, but not this high. I'm not gonna lie.
You weren't locked in. That's why you weren't locked in.
Without Paulo, he's been averaging 25, 6 and 6 on 46, 33, 84 splits. And some things that I've noticed from him is I love how he works in transition. I love how he puts pressure on the rim. I love how he creates out of the pick and roll. This season, he drives to the rim about 15 times per game. He creates about 13 potential assists for his team and about 17 assists off points created. And over the last 9 games where they've been 8-1, he's averaged about 28 points per game, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists on 47, 33, 89 splits. So when we talk about a player who's very solid on the perimeter defensively, can create for others, can create rim pressure, and he's knocking down three-point shots, the ceiling is really high with this Magic.
Is he gonna be back in these he's better than Paulo things? Are we gonna hear that?
Yes. What do you mean, Swapper? He's better than Paulo. What do you mean? We never learned. How many times I got to tell you he's the best player on that team?
I don't know. I don't like. Do you know how passionately I've been believing this? Like, I'm sorry. It's really good.
Swapper, you cook Mars on there, Swapper?
I think Paolo's obviously better for different reasons, but we'll get to that.
Well, I think the Paolo I saw pre-injury, if that's sustainable, like the constant pressure on the rim, drawing fouls, actually using his physical profile.
Yeah, year 3 development. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That Paolo, I don't know how many games he played this year before he got hurt. 6, 7 games, whatever. That Paolo, I think, is better than Franz. That Paolo.
The Paolo
I've seen in his career is not better than Franz to me. But if that Paolo was actual development and progress,
Which it looked like it was, because you didn't see that, because that Paolo that you saw, Mars, early in the season, you didn't see that
season from Jalen Green, and then I saw the last.
You know what's awesome? They both play for the same team, and they can play really well together. So I think the Magic are good.
Yes, they can.
And the Magic also have Jalen Suggs. Anthony Black has been really good recently, defensively at least. He's been fantastic. No, man, I think the Orlando Magic are right on that next tier, right? Like they're the number one team in the next tier for the East for me, because of how well they've been able to sustain themselves since Paolo's been injured. I think, Franz has taken a huge step up. I have been consistently super high on Franz Wagner. We're talking right back to the 2021 draft and onward. I've always said I prefer him, Scotty, and Evan Mobley and Alperen Sengun to Cade Cunningham. And I've always maintained that. And it's largely because I really like guys who play two-way. Alperen Sengun this year has been much better defensively.
Yes, he has.
Relative to what he has been doing in the past, right? He's been much better. And Franz Wagner has always pretty much been a great defender. And now, with the ball more in his hands, I think a lot of people said they were going to be cooked, but they're not cooked. They're great. So now when Paolo comes back, hopefully, the offense reintegrates. We see all that development. And, going forward, this is a very good team. This is a very good team in the East.
One thing that I always talked about with some of these Magic young players between like their young wings with like Jet Howard and Tristan da Silva, we've seen Tristan da Silva get a little bit more minutes as of late. And I always brought up whoever can hit these outside shots more consistently throughout a Jet Howard and a Tristan da Silva, because I like Tristan da Silva coming in. I always felt as though he was a guy that can hit a spot up 3-point shot, can work in the mid range, takes the right shots in a half court setting. He's not going to overextend himself. He's going to make the right play, and he's a solid team defender. So that's something when you bring into this Orlando Magic crew and a guy that can really benefit off the rim pressure that Franz and Paolo create, I think he's going to be really good for them. And by the end of the season, we're gonna see his value a lot more.
Right.
Let's
go ahead and start running down these super chats. I'm just gonna go from top to bottom. We have a lot of them, y'all. So
yeah,
I mean, obviously, we can speak on them all we want, but just remember, I got to get through all of these. So we'll start with Jordan. We'll start with Jordan Majors. He said, "My Knicks are the 22nd ranked defense. Mars, you're right about Bridges. I'm out on him as a defender. He hasn't been that guy in almost 3 years now."
No, you're not out on him as a defender. You know why? Because you gave up 6 1s for him. I ain't trying to hear that. You better get back in on him.
Can't be out on him.
You better get back in on him.
He ain't give him up.
I ain't trying to hear that.
You better get your ass back in that corner.
Leon Rose is sitting here right now looking at the CBA to see if there's a way to reverse that trade. Leon Rose maybe we should have kept.
What's it? I mean,
it'll work out fine.
What's gonna happen? He just gonna turn back the clock and become a great defender again? Is that what's gonna happen?
Trust me. Time will tell.
Would Isaiah Hartenstein and Cat front court work out if they would have?
They had Hartenstein. Oh my
God. Would that work out as a front court and then just be like, okay,
that's why.
Yeah, I would have gone with that over Mikal Bridges for sure.
Yeah,
I would have too, but that's just because I think OG is that good. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they needed Mikal, but I think it's good to have Mikal. I would have rather kept Hartenstein, but that's just because I think OG is really like that.
Boy, Cat.
Your Harness Charles says, "Chill. Thoughts on Danny Dimes to the Niners?"
No.
Is his name actually Danny Dimes?
No, it's Daniel Jones. But then Saquon Barkley earned him a nickname. That's what happened. He earned him. Saquon earned him a nickname, and then he.
Did y'all see Saquon last night?
Yeah, 305 all-purpose yards, I think.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he had 255 yards.
I think he had 2 70-yard runs.
Two, and then that's the most rushing yards in the NFL since 2009.
Get the Rams off the field.
Who did that? Jamal Lewis? No,
2009. That
wasn't Jamal.
Jamal Lewis within early 2000. That might have been Chris Johnson. Adrian Peterson was 2007.
Adrian Peterson.
Wait, I thought AP ran for 278 in 2000. His rookie year, I think.
Yeah.
Rookie year. Adrian Peterson 270, 275. I think.
But Jamal did have the record for a couple seasons.
Yeah, he did. He ran for 300 in 2001 or something.
Oh, that was a long time ago. Yeah, I remember that.
AP had 2. That's right. He did have 250 plus. That's right. Yeah, it's crazy.
Man. From Montekin, he says, "I'm lucky enough to have 2 mothers in my life. I cannot imagine to lose one. All love to Ron and his family. Man, I'll make sure to shout my brother with a lot of love, man. His family definitely needs it right now. Definitely. from Mo. He said, "Hard go, baby. W show and W run. Prayers up."
Mm-hmm. I mean, he not wrong about James Harden, man. I told you we don't miss the playoffs. You guys, the Clippers, we don't miss the playoffs. We don't miss the playoffs.
296 for AP, and then he had another one. So he had 2 over 275. That's crazy.
The 5 seed right
now. From Void Century, he said, "F the Nuggets. Talk Hemi Buckets. Fan club is back."
Shout out
Jimmy been good the last 2 games.
He realized he was on a contract year.
He realized Bama was like, yeah, let me just lock in. That's what he realized. Everyone, Bam the best player on the Heat. I was part of that. Like, Jesus Christ, Bam making me look bad.
I don't know why you guys are ever on that.
Because Bam was really good last year. How's I meant to anticipate this fall off?
Yes, he was.
And
what we saw from him in the Olympics, and what we saw from him in the Olympics, how are we not to believe that that's not going to translate to the pro game?
Oh, fat family.
He was fantastic in the Olympics.
I
thought I was looking at an all-pro season. That's what I thought I was looking at.
Why do you think Bam is struggling so bad? Is it probably because he's listening to too much swiper takes on the panel?
It might be.
His basketball mind and understanding. It's just making him a worse
This is how I know Pam is not here enough. The only person that wanted him to have more offensive responsibilities is this dude.
I tried to tell you
right here. It's chill. He wanted him to do more.
Nah,
you might be on to something, Pin. You might be on to something.
Yeah, he not locked in. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think he's being used wrong. Oh, keep going, Mars. My bad.
No, he just watching us too much. Yeah, we might need to start declining them super chats until he locks in. Because
that's why Rudy Gobert is yelling at Julius Randle because chill.
I know one thing. If it rubs off on Asia Wilson, I'm gonna find Bam. But from your harness, Charles, you said Cam Thomas. This is what I was trying to get to earlier. Swiper, you wouldn't answer the question.
You want to talk about Dennis Schroeder and Jalen Green?
Yeah, Dennis Schroeder.
Well, that's a conversation in 24. Go ahead.
They don't have the assets.
So no, Swiper.
They have the assets.
No, they don't.
They don't.
Have
I'm the Nets.
No.
Jalen Pickett. Jalen Pickett
is worth -3 6th-round picks right now.
He's not worth anything. He was drafted for.
Yes.
Deron Holmes.
Nice person.
Julian Strother. Damn, you guys have nothing. Jesus.
2031 first-round pick. But I did say, to be fair, if depending on what happens with Murray the next 2 months, the thing that might happen is Porter might get traded because his value is through the roof right now because of how good he's playing.
Yo,
and he's played 96 of 97 games too.
I know we didn't talk. I don't think we talked about the fact that even though the Nuggets went on, I think what a 51-17 run to close that game, Jamal Murray still had a terrible game.
5 of 12, 14, 5 of 5.
He's just not that good.
Yeah, they're winning in spite of him. So they could replace him.
Without the Mavs game, he was 4
they could replace him with literally any competent halfway shooting guard. Yo, like I'll tell you right now, if you replaced him right now with Max Strus, somehow I'm pretty sure you'd get
Andrew Nembhard.
Andrew Nembhard's had a terrible year so far.
But Jamal, like as bad as Jamal Murray's been offensively, and he's not making shots. Like defensively, he's been worse. Like he's been.
I thought you were about to compliment his defense. My bad. Okay.
No, defensively he's been worse. Like he's been abysmal in defense.
But you know what the thing is, Mars? There's the starting units of plus 15.9. I don't think they're plus 17 with him and Joker, which means if he just comes back to life, just come back to life.
Did we get tricked?
Bro, you don't got to be a max player. Could you be a mid-level player? Like
right now, he's playing
like no, let's take the Penny Hardaway comparisons off the table, Mars. Did we get tricked? Please.
No. I don't want to go that far. I don't think he's been tricked. Him and Malone have said he knows he's slumping. He's trying his best to get out of it, but it does not seem to be injury related. He just is playing like dog water. But he knows it. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know.
Before
I could have sworn the Lakers game would have been.
I do want to say shout out to Russell Westbrook.
Facts.
If that's right with y'all, I want to say shout out.
Oh wait. It's always all right with me. It's all right with you.
Yeah. What he was like.
I want to shout.
By the way,
contrary to popular belief, I don't just hate on players because I don't like them. I just speak on what I see, and if I don't see what y'all see. I'm sorry.
By the way, Penn, did you see that top 50 passer ever with that backdoor to Michael Porter Jr. off 80 sleeping in the middle of the paint?
Did you see that top 50 passer get his pass picked off not once but twice? Did you see my reel where he tried to make a little slip pass to Jokic? It got picked off, and then he threw a grenade to the eighth.
Oh, that's crazy. Magic Johnson got some turnovers too, a lot. LeBron too. What does that mean?
All right, guys. Let me move on to this next super chat.
We still have a lot left.
I don't know if this wants to say. By the way, what's this mean? BITW.
Best in the world. Best in the world. Joker best in the world.
Best in the world.
Okay, y'all go ahead. You read this, Mars. Read this. Go ahead.
He's saying Joker best in the world. However, his turnovers.
Oh, that's a called Joker
per game.
And more NBA TD. What's NBA TD? NBA
touchdowns. NBA touchdowns.
Triple double. Triple doubles.
Triple double. Thank you. Triple doubles. Overall, overrepresent his impact on winning. 46 total triple doubles in 14-15. 137 triple doubles in 23-24. Bless up, run, prayers up. So he's basically saying the league gets more triple doubles. So Jokic is also getting more triple doubles, and that overstates how impactful he's actually being. I've always been of the belief that triple double is just an arbitrary thing that people like because they like round numbers. Like there's no difference between with 10 assists and 9.7 assists. It doesn't.
It's always going to be a function of how many offensive possessions there are and how many minutes you play. That's it.
Yeah.
So to put that in the context, if Jokic plays 33 minutes, I'm not saying he does. If he plays 33 minutes in a super fast-paced era, it's probably equivalent to someone playing 44 minutes in a slower-paced era, the same number of possessions, which means the same number of potential to be in triple-double territory, right? The difference is here that it's harder for bigs to get rebounds today because there's longer shots, longer rebounds. So it's more easy for guards to get rebounds today than it was before. That's my point.
Also, shout out to my dude, Matt Moore. Jokic is currently averaging the most points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks recorded in NBA history at 58.
Shout out to him. Shout out to Jokic. Adam West with the super chat of the day. He wants to remind everybody, for the people in the cheap seats, bum-ass Lakers.
I agree.
There are only two Laker fans up here.
Alan Nard says Najee Marshall is great, man. Also, J Kidd is a terrorist in the regular season. Why is Dinwiddie playing the whole second half?
To get Dinwiddie some reps. But I told you guys, Najee Marshall, man, I'm telling you, you're not going to miss Derrick Jones because Najee Marshall was better. And if that three's dropping, that's even better. But I don't know what it is.
No threes.
His
he didn't make no threes before that Denver game.
Oh no, he made them against you though. He made that end the shot clock heave against you guys. That was cool.
Why does Jason like big guards so much?
Because he's a big guard. That's what.
Yeah, but Dinwiddie ain't nothing like him. He can't be like, oh well, I see myself in. Like, he can't. There's no way. It's just
man. If Luka gives him the ball in the clutch, man, they're gonna win.
But Najee Marshall's been great.
Void Century says, great weekend for me. Heat, Fins, FSU, and Madrid all won. That's what's up, boy. Happy for your squad.
Shout out someone else.
New England.
Happy for your squads. Fresh Boy Swag says, please, no microaggressions from Penn today. Okay. Thanks for that, Fresh Boy Swag.
Detail dude. What are you gonna do, man?
DSG Piccolo with the super chat says,
here we go.
Clinging out with a knee sprain. I don't know what to do if he injury prone. Need the guys to keep the game close. Saw some B-ball index advanced metrics and has AD's post defense really been that bad?
Yeah. He's gotten an F grade as an off-ball defender.
He hasn't had a good defensive season at all.
And to speak on Donovan Clingan, the first part, yes, he has been injury prone in the past. So this might be an issue.
Hopefully he works it out, gets together, gets his joint strong, whatever he has to do. I'll let the trainer staff.
Every bit of 7 feet, Mars. Every bit of it.
I know he's smaller than Zach Edey, but he looks bigger than Zach Edey. Like, I know he's smaller than him. But like Zach Edey looks like 7'4", but he looks like he's young. He looks like he's 22. Donovan Clingan looks like a fully built 7'2" grown man, 28-year-old. Like, that's how his frame looks. And he's like 20.
You think he faked his birth certificate too?
I never even accused Joel Embiid of that. Don't throw me in there.
No, I'm just asking.
Wait, who you asking?
You said two. Like, I was the one.
You think he faked his birth certificate?
Probably not. I don't think so.
Okay, cool.
But you know why, Penn. I won't say it. 8 Gates Lee says, I know y'all see Big Uno with the Clips on a 5-game win streak. Dunn is amazing. Also, chill. How you like that ass whooping yesterday? Gold, Pat, gold. Even put a little cheese emoji right there. See?
You're right, big Uno. I'm telling you, we don't miss the playoffs. All you guys who are hating on us, the Clippers, they're not that good. James Harden.
I'm gonna start putting on Substack. I need to put a Substack just for off-season cheap bargain bin two-way guards for your team to attack. Because every time I say it, they end up hitting in their championship.
So I just love how since I've been doing this for about a year and a half now, almost 2 years, and it was crickets when we was mopping the floor with the Green Bay Packers. Now all of a sudden they beat us one game and chill. How you like that ass whooping yesterday? I didn't like it at all, to be honest with you. No, I didn't appreciate that ass whooping. No, I did not. I didn't like it at all. No. And I'm surprised that it stopped at 38. I thought that they could have put 50 on us, to be honest with you.
Damn, you gave
they could have easily put 50. They could have put 50 on us.
Sure, that's what you do when you're the inferior team or franchise or whatever. Like, for instance, last year, you see how happy I was when we was beating the Lakers around.
Yeah,
that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be mad. You can't be mad at that.
There's some great super chats here. Wow.
That's the first time they beat us in 3 years. So, all right.
Really great.
As you were saying, Ox, I'm sorry.
I wasn't saying anything.
Y'all got a losing record now. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that they haven't
been decimated by injuries.
I don't think it's more.
No, they haven't played well either. No, they haven't played well either.
But they
because of injury.
No,
talking about
not
Swiper.
It's not just that. I watch. Okay, I watch every single Packers game, and even with Brock Purdy and Nick Bosa are there, they have been underwhelming all season.
And why were we whelming last season, Ox? I mean, not Ox. I'm sorry, Swiper. Why were
you
we
call
whelming?
Me Penn? You call me Ox. You know my name is Swiper.
How about that?
You gonna call me John D next?
Why were we whelming last season, Swiper?
Last season, they were just a better team. Teams fall off without injuries all the time.
One more time.
Teams fall off without injuries all of the time.
Yeah, except that's not what's going on in San Francisco.
No, they literally are a worse football team. Period. Since the start of the year, they're a worse team.
So the fact that
the defense sucks. The defense is soft. They've been getting beat up the middle all year. Period.
And the reason why is because our defense has been decimated by injury.
No, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear
that.
I'm
really looking forward to how we're going to have 32 seconds to talk about Denny Avdia. I can't wait for those 32 seconds. They're going to be great.
Let's do it.
We might only get like 23 seconds.
Damn. Okay, let's go.
Tito El Bandito. Chill. How old was the Dikembe Mutombo? 56, right? 59.
Yeah. No. When you said Shaq dominated him.
Oh, that's right.
31. In 2001. Was he? No, he was at 33.
Get credit for doing that. But,
what are you talking about? You said because I'm better than you. That was hilarious.
Oh, I'm not gonna say it. Spoil it. That was an add-on. It was the content was so good. I was killing chill so bad. They said we want to do another segment, and they took us off camera and put us on camera.
You don't, Swiper. All you do is talk loud. That's all you do, Swiper.
No, don't fool the people.
You talk loud when you talk.
You all are seeing. I'm not even doing it. I'm talking
over and over again. When
it was a regular debate with segments, and no one could interrupt each other, and you were getting cooked in. And then when they said take the gloves off and you can just go bar for bar, you were getting cooked in too. Chill, the audience is gonna realize.
Fellas, we will see in 5 days. In 5 days, we will see. When I asked y'all if y'all wanted to have a preview earlier, it was all crickets. Now y'all want to go at it. Relax, fellas. Relax.
He's mad because the 49ers are boo-boo.
A pimp named
y'all ain't won a Super Bowl since '94. What was the year? I'm sorry, y'all.
Relax, bro.
I'm sorry.
Pimp named Slickback said, "Swiper, you heard Malik Neighbors' comments? Shake my head.
Love him. I love him. Did you hear what he said, Ox?
I did not.
He said it don't matter who the quarterback is. It could be Tommy DeVito. It could be Daniel Jones. Our offense sucks. It's the same result. They were down 30 before they started giving me the ball. Malik Neighbors is a generational receiver talent, just like Chase. And he did not get a target until they were down 30 points. And so he's frustrated. He's frustrated.
Right, man. Shout out.
Trash.
Also, we got one from World Peace. He said, 2019 Raptors versus last year's Celtics. Who y'all got?
Raptors.
The Celtics.
Raptors. The things that Kawhi Leonard.
Who you got? You?
Boston.
Of course he does. He has to do it for his agenda.
Pin, who you got, Pin?
Raptors.
John D, who you got? Last year's Celtics or 2019 Raptors?
Last year's Celtics.
Okay. Mars, you said
with or without KP?
With KP, last year's Celtics. I got KP.
Yeah, but he wasn't there in the playoff run. That's what I'm asking.
He was there for most of the season, and he was there for about 4 games.
Yeah. Boston. No, I don't even think it's that close to best.
Yeah, I think the
Claire, who you think won the panel debate between me and Chill? Go ahead, you'll answer objectively.
I think they wiped the floor with the Celtics actually. Mitsu says, shout out to my GOAT Ron. Stay strong, big bro.
Sure,
definitely,
sure.
Ron, definitely. From Vince, he said Swiper looked like a light-skinned Xavier Tillman.
Swiper light skin? Nice.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, commenting on people's beauty work.
Not this again. Motsi Kinney, Mars has his hand up, teacher.
You had it up for like 8 minutes straight.
That's W arm strength. You know what I'm saying? W arm strength.
I see. That's my workout for the week. See.
Michael Haynes, Penn did all that yapping just to do exactly what Ox said he'd do. I don't agree with that, Penn. I just had to read it. Your Highness Charles said NFL will always be king because the focus is always on the team. Ain't nobody sitting around having GOAT debates forever. Talk about the teams, man.
We had GOAT debates all the time. I had somebody tell me Drew Brees was better than Peyton Manning like 2 months ago.
That's egregious. Hey, shout out to Drew Brees, though.
Like we don't have GOAT debate running back talk. Adrian Peterson or Eric Dickerson. We have that kind of conversation. What the hell?
It's just not as strong because the helmets and and all that stuff. Shorter careers.
What the hell? We talk about that shit all the time.
Yeah, man. MTH 301. Okay. Maybe dumb, but what if Doncic moved to power forward?
I mean, on defense, he's a de facto power forward anyway. On offense, you're going to put the ball in his hands anyway. So what change would really happen? Right. Let's just say he's a power forward now. What changes functionally in terms of how he plays?
He is built like older Kevin Love. That is true.
He'll play the exact same. Like nothing would change.
I don't think that was necessary, Swiper.
Well, I'm just saying.
I think we should stop fat shaming Luka, man.
He doesn't look fat. Kevin Love wasn't fat either.
Right. Masinko G says, I'm talking
about post-workout Kevin Love. Sorry.
I don't care what side you on. This is a great discussion. I agree.
The Jokic debate,
I don't think it was much of a debate. Like, I think we all agree that Jokic is the best player in the NBA.
No,
it ended up turning into like not philosophical, but like how we actually digest the game and what we value, and it got away from Jokic just like.
And that's I think that does turn into good hoop talk. I like when we do that. I know some people say it's word salad, but I enjoy it. Exclusive excellence. He just sent a lot of laughing emojis, like 10 of them.
I think this is when you and Penn were having your back and forth.
We weren't having a back and forth. We were talking good.
Hey, shout out Claire. Read the chat. Chill. Claire said I won.
I don't pay attention to the chat. I'm straight.
That's not true. You comment all the time. When's
the last time you heard me comment in the chat? When?
You did it today. You did it today. You literally did it today. Somebody said something you liked, and you said exactly. I don't.
When it was a super chat.
Damn, that's crazy.
A super chat, which is right in front of me, but I don't pay attention.
Nah,
to that.
stop it. I don't want to hear this.
Wait, chill.
Everybody put L chill in the chat just because everybody know he's lying.
Well, Chill's not gonna see it.
Chill, it's no way. See, that's how I know Swipe is lying, Chill, because there's no way you said duh. You know?
Yeah, I didn't hear Chill say it.
And the reason why is because he's a yapper.
Semantics.
That's what he is. That's what Swiper does. Swiper does a lot of yapping. Talk,
you don't yap. You said Wilt Chamberlain and Jokic are the same tier passer.
That's not yapping. Of the Yap Club.
That's not yapping. That's not yapping. You said Wilt Chamberlain and Jokic same level passer. That's not yapping.
I'm gonna need you to lock in, Hurst. I'm gonna need you to lock in.
All right, bet.
Marsh.
I'm gonna need you to lock in, man.
Oh man. Jacko VX says when Convo doesn't go Penn, he's Ticket TV without insults. Shout out to
there's insults, they're just a lot more slick.
It's the type of nuanced insult you're gonna think about a week from now and be like, oh right, that's what.
Are they that nuanced? You basically
call me Dylan Brooks. A week
nuanced.
from now, Penn? I don't know about all that.
I think even the Dylan Brooks comparison is multi-layered.
I don't really think it's all that layered.
The reason why is because you smug, Swiper. You are one of the most smug people that I've ever met. See, I don't indirectly insult. I'll say it to your face. Swiper, you're smug. 100%.
What is smug? What is definition of smug again? I don't remember.
There's just a level of
wait. Do it, chill. What it, chill?
I'll say this. I'll just say this. Give me. Oh my goodness.
I do think that we have a level of passive aggressiveness from this middle column right here. That's why you guys are stacked on. You guys are stacked on top of each other.
There's nothing passive aggressive about that.
Ben is not passive aggressive. Ben will get after your ass. No,
no, definitely will. I think you guys are more alike than you think, though. Man, shout out to y'all. I love it.
And I don't know why the chat thinks that I wouldn't get along with Ticket TV. I like Ticket TV. Ticket and I are cool, man. Like that.
FIFA boy says, Pin, if we're all flawed, just leave, my man. Pin, don't leave, bro. No way about it.
Then he would have to leave. Then he would have to leave the earth. Like, what the hell? Everyone's flawed.
Man. All of us are flawed. Masinko G says Chris Dunn been hooping. I can't believe Dennis Smith Jr. a free agent. I see a similar-ish point of attack defender.
Notice why I never brought up Dennis those Dennis talks and Chris Dunn talks in the summer. They're not. But Dennis is a good defender though.
Yeah, I'm not putting him in Chris Dunn talks, but Dennis Smith is a really good defender.
Yeah, Swiper was talking Chris Dunn in like July. He was like, yo.
That's because he wanted him in Denver.
But he works for everybody, I feel like. He work on the Celtics. Think about him on the Miami Heat right now. Like, he would work.
I'd like him in Houston.
You already have enough.
Mello Williams. See, this is the chat I was looking for. Mello Williams says, Giannis with this midi is crazy. Love to see it.
Yeah, I think I've seen he's top 5 in the league in mid-range attempts and mid-range percentage. I think I've seen that.
What's he shooting, like 42% for mid-range, I think?
No, like 48%. Like 48.
Yeah. Shout out to Giannis. Go ahead, keep shooting that.
All I'm saying, Kobe Bryant was like 43%.
Ugliest jump shot since Bill.
So, like, statistically, Giannis a better mid-range shooter than Kobe.
Here we go. Should it to you, break Giannis. Should it to you, break.
Not relevant. The stats say Giannis better.
Kyle Martinez says, chill. I know you love Jabari, but you can't lie. He's been the Rockets' 5th, 6th best player this year. Amin and Tari clear.
5th or 6th?
Yeah, he's been on 5th.
Okay, let's name this then. So at the top is
Tari, Dillon are 4 easy. So at best he's 5th. Easy. There you go.
Okay. So then
he's been worse than Fred.
You think
at best he's 5th.
Yeah, he's been worse than Jalen Green too.
No, that would make him 7th.
The separator with him, the separator with him and Tari is Tari does the other stuff, and he does it so effectively in times when the Rockets really need it, as opposed to Jabari Smith when like he'll miss a wide open shot when the Rockets really need it. That's the difference. That's where the separator is between those two guys.
Tari just better than him, but that's
chill. Mind Goblin has a question for you. Mind Goblin said, chill. Who's run as the second guy to the whose second guy run was more impressive? Tatum.
I think that's a valid question.
Yeah, what was the sound for?
I don't think
where's the more impressive?
I don't understand that. What was the sound for? What was the alarm for?
That's the question.
The reason why is because Jason Tatum isn't a number 2. That's why.
He didn't win
MVP. Semantics.
Yeah,
he didn't win
So Steph Curry was second option to Andre Iguodala.
Yes, he was.
No, Andre Iguodala was Andre Iguodala the first option on the?
I could never imagine my GOAT not winning Finals MVP.
But you're
not the only person who can yell.
You could say Jason Tatum was the second option without bringing up the Finals MVP. You could just bring up the fact that the guy couldn't score to save his life. Like, so I just want to. Who had a more impressive postseason?
Right. Let's not call it
second. Yeah, forget the word second option. Who had a more impressive postseason? 23 Murray or 24 Tatum?
Good question.
I think this chat, super chat, not all super chats are.
It's Murray.
Murray played better.
I'm not mad about second option. Like, there you go. Just answer the question for what it is. Who was more impressive?
Wait, so you think Jamal Murray had a better postseason run than Jason Tatum?
I'm pretty sure you saw Jamal Murray in 23.
What does that say about Jason Tatum? Oh my God!
He did not have a better run than Jason Tatum. Can we please stop?
We don't have time. 2 minutes. Everyone pick Jamal Murray. We don't have time, unfortunately.
No, we did not.
Got like 14 super chats left.
Well, unfortunately, it'll be 5 against 1 pen.
Marcus from 626 says, "I swear to God, y'all are wrong about Rob D."
No, we not. No, we not.
But I ain't gonna send $20.
No, we not. No, we not. And Marcus, what I need you to do, man, Take off your fan hat. You talk to us all the time. Every time you come up here, all it is Anthony Edwards this, Minnesota that. Rob Dillingham is new. He is not a great defender. He's a rook, and he gets picked on like a rook does. So stop, man. Don't do that. Don't
pick on Amen Thompson like that. But
yes, they did. Yes,
they ain't what?
No.
From
Star Thompson, Ryan Dunn, Jonathan Mobo. There's been a lot of OG Anunoby. There's been a lot of great rookie defenders.
Rob Dillingham. None of those dudes are.
Facts. But because you're small, you better get into gym.
We are not going to go through this again. Big defenders, little defenders. I cannot handle that.
We're not doing that again.
T-Fame says, what players should the Miami Heat trade for? Also, honest thoughts about Pale Larson. I feel like he should be in the closing lineup moving forward.
I think the Miami Heat need a playmaker. I think they need a playmaker.
What do you think they traded for?
They need a number one scoring option.
They need a lot of things.
They need to let Scary Terry off the leash. Pimp name. Wow, Swiper. So just derail super chats and then bounce.
Crazy.
Pimp name Slickback said Cam Thomas greater than Jalen Green. By the way, L Mars.
Sky's blue.
Sky's blue.
FIFA or can we trade Najee for Najee? So that's Najee Marshall and Zeke Najee?
Yeah. But why would you want to do that if you're a Dallas fan?
Do not.
Never in life would you do that. Denver, however, would probably like that. He could be that.
Maybe that's what he was speaking for. Maybe he was speaking.
No, but he said trade Najee for Najee. But if he's saying trade Najee for Najee, and he started with Najee Marshall,
we don't have time for sentimental logic, Mars.
Or Zeke Najee, which would mean that.
Pen, if you just would let him talk, you'd have been done by now. Go ahead, Mars.
Yeah, well, your ego, Pen. Come on. Okay.
I kept it to one sentence.
Drink More Water says, shout out LaMelo for being the fourth 50-point scorer.
We didn't even talk about that. Damn. Yeah.
I mean, Nikola Jokic is that polarizing, Mars. We cannot get off of that.
LaMelo
next time, name it. LaMelo scores 50, and we'll talk about that for the first 30 minutes. How about that?
I ain't making the title for tomorrow. This was too much work for me to come up with this one. So, yeah, all right.
You got it, Mars. You can do it.
Jordan
measures with another super chat. He said, chill. Don't blame me. I said we need to focus on depth and defense. In the last years, the Knicks have shipped out 7 to 8 picks and multiple rotation players. I'd expect back a Giannis. I did not want this.
Jordan,
I mean, if you combine everything, you got Giannis basically.
Well, not only that, but I mean, you got OG Anunoby. What is he known for?
Defense and 3-point shooting.
When you got Mikal Bridges, even though you haven't seen it, what was he known for? Defense. So that's what you got them dudes for. And you focused on Mitchell Robinson, who can't stay in the lineup, but when he's healthy, one of the better defensive bigs in the game. So
you know what's funny? They actually could have traded for a player on the Nets that would have made them exactly what they wanted. Cam Johnson. Had they traded for Cam Johnson,
they would have got that instead of
instead of 5 first-round picks, you probably could have given up 2 first-round picks and just gotten Cam Johnson and been way better.
Probably could have thrown DFS in there.
Hey. Maybe.
Yeah. Or Ben Simmons. Wow. Context Clue says, if y'all have time, can y'all talk about the Spurs versus Warriors games? Also, shout out Stephon Castle. He's been good since entering the starting lineup.
Yo, the Spurs have been awesome. They've been amazing.
Yeah, I was a little bit wrong about the
Spurs. 2 massive comeback wins. Wemby looking great. Stephon Castle looking great. That duo going forward, given that they are both 20 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old. Yo, the future is so insanely bright in San Antonio. And they're winning more than anyone thought they would this early. And I don't even think they're fully there yet. I think they're just hitting their stride right now. I think they'll compete for the play-in.
I hope Stephon Castle is really just taking the time to spend as much time with Chris Paul as possible and soaking up as much game from him as possible. I think
he is as good as he is.
Area 51 is also the baddest nickname. That's crazy because Wemby's an alien, right?
That is tough.
Area 51, yo, I love it.
I hope they live up to that. Pimp name Slickback says Cam Johnson price tag was 2 picks this summer. The Knicks should have traded for him instead. We just said. MP13. This is what happens when you don't let Swiper talk about Jokic during the earlier segment. He starts going crazy later on in the show.
I love how they talk about Swiper like you talk about a 6-year-old.
Your Highness Charles says, how good are Magic if they get Cam Johnson with Paolo back?
They still got a bad offense.
I don't think it's crazy to say Tristan da Silva can become Cam Johnson, and you just get like a cheaper player. Like I'm not saying right now this season, but later down the line, a few years.
That level of defense.
That's optimism about the growth of the shooter. But I can understand betting on your player development. I can understand it.
Black Haji, Clipper Nation, stand up.
Hard NFC stand up. Yep.
Wait till Kawhi gets back. It's going down.
Right, it is going down.
No, it's just like going down in a good way.
More like that.
So, but y'all think Kawhi's going to come and make things? Wait, what are you saying?
I think Kawhi going to come play 3 games and have swelling in his knee. That's what I think going to happen.
Well, as long as it's the right 3 games, that's all that matters.
NBA Finals.
Exactly. King OJ, is JB the best 3 in the league right now?
No.
Sometimes. Mo says, Mars, what?
Superchats, man, damn.
Mo says, chill, top 10 bucket getters all time.
You
got 10, chill?
He wants me to say James Harden. That's all that is.
Okay. Are you going to say James Harden?
Is James Harden top 10?
Well, that's on.
Yes.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Shout out to James Harden. DSG Piccolo. Also, Tamani and Denny have had them dudes in hell on Saturday. Love the team's fight. Get them bozos, Fred and Brooks off the floor.
What the hell was that, Mars? You smoked these dudes by 30, and then the next night, credit cards don't work. They throw us out.
Can we devote 1 minute to Fred VanVleet's final shot? Please?
I could summarize it. Fred VanVleet's a bitch. There you go. Jalen Green is trash. Şengün can't score, and then you have Deer in the post. Like, that's the summary. And then Anthony Simons want to make clutch shots against us. There you go. Summary over.
Fred said, "You're a bitch. You're a bitch. You're a bitch." To all the referees.
Yeah, he's gonna get a pretty nice suspension.
Please suspend him for the rest of the year. Please.
Like sometimes it's worth the suspension, John D.
But it's worth noting that despite the camera angle, he did not make contact.
I don't care. How long did Kelly Oubre get suspended for? Double it for Fred VanVleet, because he should know better.
Right. Well, that's the end of the Super Chats. That's the end of the show. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. We will be back same time tomorrow.
Rob, we'll talk to you soon, brother. Keep your head up, my man. We here with you. We here for you. We'll see you soon, brother.
Let's make sure to send a lot of love and prayers to my brother. And hey, we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Later.
Peace.
Yeah.